What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 4 nanometers Chapter 71 Uchiha Itachi wanders around the Daimyo's mansion, and the Daimyo is terrified. Please order the full version. Yes, there is another Konkuro. What is Konkuro doing now? Chiyo looked up and asked, her eyes were extremely old. Konkuro? Temari didn't expect Chiyo to ask what Konkuro was doing. He seems to be studying the garbage he picked up from your house before. When Temari said this, Chiyo's heart was completely broken. As expected, no wonder Bai Ye looked down on him. Who would care about a guy who holds garbage as a treasure? Tell Konkuro not to play with those garbage. Chiyo's expression became extremely serious. Doesn't he want to learn puppetry? Let him come to me. Although Konkuro is really a bit disappointing, but there is no way, Konkuro's talent is now considered advanced in Tsunade. And Chiyo can't just watch the future of Tsunade all fall to Bai Ye. Yes, how could I forget Konkuro? I understand. Temari didn't expect Konkuro to be chosen by Advisor Chiyo. You know, Advisor Chiyo was very reluctant to teach Konkuro ninjutsu before. Now the pressure from Bai Ye forced Chiyo to do so. During the time when Bai Ye left Konoha, Danzo also received the news that his roots were uprooted. The land of fire. How can this be? Bai Ye really doesn't take me seriously. Anger has completely occupied Danzo's reason. Danzo, please stay calm. Aburame Togen hurriedly persuaded. Bai Ye's current strength, let alone the entire Konoha, even the entire ninja world may not have anyone who can match him. What Aburame Togen said couldn't calm Danzo down. Bai Ye actually announced that I betrayed Konoha. That's why he sent people to destroy my root organization. This is simply slander, serious slander. Danzo's chest was burning with fire at this time. He couldn't accept it at all. For Konoha, I turned into a root hidden under the sun. But Bai Ye actually treated me like this. I want to report to the Daimyo. Danzo couldn't stand it anymore. I had already told the Daimyo about Bai Ye's arrogance and domineering. But the Daimyo couldn't make up his mind for a while. This time, he really couldn't tolerate it anymore. I want to see the Daimyo. After saying that, Danzo took people out directly. Today, Danzo seemed to have a feeling of not giving up. It didn't take long for them to arrive in front of the Daimyo's mansion. It must be said that although the Daimyo was quite useless, he knew how to enjoy himself. Even in such a small place like the ninja world, he had to build the most luxurious one. It's Danzo-sama, is there anything? The butler under the Daimyo asked enthusiastically after seeing Danzo. Danzo did not return to Konoha during this period. As a result, Danzo's relationship with the Daimyo is getting better and better. I want to see the Daimyo. The butler naturally did not dare to delay Danzo's words. Not long after, the Daimyo agreed to Danang's audience. When Danzo went in, he found that the Daimyo was holding a banquet. There were many young dancers in the middle, each of them danced and enjoyed themselves. But Danzo was stunned. Daimyo-sama, you have to make the decision for me. Danzo's words directly attracted the Daimyo's attention. Bai Ye not only removed my position without reason, but also confiscated all my subordinates and organizations. Danzo seemed to have suffered a great injustice at this time. Advertisement, you know, the people sitting here are all nobles of the land of fire. The Daimyo was naturally very unhappy after hearing this news. Danzo, as far as I know, Konoha hasn't sent the 5th generation's inauguration documents yet, right? According to convention, Konoha usually selects the Hokage candidate internally. Then it is handed over to the Daimyo for review. Of course, most of them, AICF, are just for show. After all, the Daimyo will not deny a ninja who is qualified to become Hokage for no reason. Daimyo-sama, Byakuya has no intention of submitting the inauguration letter to you. Danzo looked angry. He was right about this sentence. Byakuya had no intention of submitting any inauguration letter to the Daimyo. Could it be that Byakuya needs the Daimyo's consent to become Hokage? How could this be? The Daimyo looked a little unnatural. It can even be said that he was a little angry. Danzo, what you said is true. The Daimyo even stood up. You know, the Daimyo cannot care about other things, but he must care about face. Immediately let the 5th Hokage of Konoha come here to meet. The Daimyo's expression was a little gloomy. For this kind of tough Hokage, a tougher attitude must be taken. As soon as this was said, the nobles around began to discuss. I was wondering why Konoha has withdrawn all the ninja guards recently. Yes, I heard that Konoha doesn't seem to be planning to send out ninja guards during this period. Many daimyos in the land of fire have ninjas from Konoha under their command. This is also an agreement made by the Daimyo and Konoha. The Daimyo provides economic support to the ninja village, and the ninja village provides armed protection for the Daimyo. In name, the ninja village needs to obey the Daimyo's dispatch. Konoha's guards have withdrawn. When did it happen? At this time, the Daimyo didn't know when these ninjas were withdrawn. And the butler naturally didn't dare to say that he had held many banquets during this period. So he didn't report it. After all, even if those ninjas left, would they have no way to protect the Daimyo? Daimyo, I don't think you have to worry at all. At this time, a noble stood up. These ninjas are not reliable. I said that the Daimyo tenant established a guarding Kaiji ninja before. You should know that this is a private independent direct unit established by the Daimyo alone. It is very powerful. The symbol is the fire waist cloth on the waist. Sarutobi Asuma, the second son of the third Hokage of Konoha Shinobi Village, and Jilu, the abbot of the Fire Temple, once belonged to this organization. Even if Konoha's ninja guards are gone, the Daimyo's 12 guardians are here. They can still protect the Daimyo's safety. I have to say that this nobleman's horse is very well photographed. This sentence made the Daimyo feel very happy, that makes sense. But the mistakes made by the Hokage of Konoha must be severely punished. Butler, stop providing any financial support to Konoha from now on, and at the same time, stop issuing any tasks to Konoha. The Daimyo's meaning is very clear. He wants to force Konoha to retreat. Hey, isn't the 5th Hokage too young? If the Hokage of Konoha is a famous ninja like Danzo, this kind of thing would not happen. Quote. Danzo still has a lot of connections among the nobles. Yes, Danzo is more suitable. Many people began to discuss Danzo. Well, Danzo is indeed more mature than this young Hokage. The Daimyo did not object to this. Boom, a violent explosion sounded. This explosion scared all the nobles. The samurai under their command protected them behind them. At this time, Danzo was the calmest, because compared with these termites, Danzo has seen a lot of storms. What happened outside? The Daimyo did not realize what was going on. At this time, he was confident that even if there were no ninjas from Konoha to protect him, he could still hold the position of Daimyo. Bang! The door was knocked in by something. Advertisement. Ahem. A monk was thrown in like this, and the door was broken. Danzo saw that the situation was not right and quietly withdrew to protect the nobles in front of him. The sense of crisis developed over the years made Danzo let his men out of the small door immediately. We have to admire Danzo for this. When they joined forces with Hanzo to strangle Yahiko in Rain Shinobi Village, Danzo ran away as soon as he saw that the situation was not good. Now we know how afraid Danzo is of death. Who are you? Don't you know that this is the Daimyo's mansion? How dare you be so rampant? The Daimyo's mansion butler immediately scolded. Where are the 12 guardians? Hurry up and take them down. The intruders were Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame, who were wearing black windbreakers embroidered with red clouds and hats with wind chimes on their heads. Uchiha Itachi didn't even bother to pretend. Are they these people? Uchiha Itachi rushed over with Kisame after receiving Bai Ye's request. Looking at the nobles who were afraid of death below, Uchiha Itachi really didn't understand how they dared to provoke Bai Ye. Did they think that Bai Ye would take into account the noble status? Anyway, he felt that Bai Ye was definitely not someone who was easily scared off by the noble status. Otherwise, Bai Ye would not have asked him to teach these nobles a lesson. The 12 guardians. The Daimyo was visibly panicked at this time. They had been pampered for so long, how could they have seen such a scene? Ah, are you talking about these ninjas? Kisame walked in with 2 corpses on his shoulders. By the way, they are really a bit vulnerable. Kisami's smile looked like a devil to these nobles. It was actually normal. You have to know that the strongest of the first generation of the 12 guardians were only Asuma and Ji-Lu. In this case, Kisame would have something to say. I can beat Asuma with one hand, not to mention these second generation 12 guardians. Even if Kisame hasn't recovered all his chakra now, it was still easy to beat them. By the way, 1 against 7, I just saw Konoha's Danzo running over. Kisame looked at Uchiha Itachi, but Itachi didn't say anything. Let her save Danzo's life first. Bai Ye asked them to teach these daimyo a lesson. Coincidentally, he also had some experience in how to teach people a lesson. How is it possible? Seeing the 12 guardians in Kisami's hand, the faces of the people around were completely shocked. How is it possible? They couldn't accept it. You know, these people were all hired by them at a high price. How could they be so vulnerable? Even 12 people couldn't beat 2 people. Pressure Masni, these 12 trash are not the opponent of the 5th Hokage even if they are added together. The news that Kisame accidentally revealed made a kind of nobles even more unbelievable. They themselves lacked the understanding of strength. I always feel that an ordinary Jonin is a Jonin, and Kakashi my guy is also a Jonin. So the 2 sides will be evenly matched. You know, even Kakashi, who is called evenly matched, can easily defeat ordinary Jonin. Not to mention people of Bai Ye's level. What a pity, even if my strength is 10 times stronger now, I am afraid I am not the opponent of that person. Hoshigaki Kisami's words made these daimyo completely scared. You know, they have the confidence to cut off Konoha's economic support because they have their own private independent direct troops. However, when they saw that their private independent direct troops were slaughtered like chickens, all of them fell into a huge state of confusion, especially the daimyo. You know, he spent a lot of money to support these people. But what was the result? You don't really think you can find powerful guards with money? Kisame looked at these people and smiled. Chapter 72. Great name. Just a bunch of dogs, also accompany Lord Bai Ye to scam. Under normal circumstances, those Jonin with a little bit of strength and a slightly higher status would hardly be willing to serve as guards for the daimyo just for the insignificant money. After all, if ninjas like them who have a little bit of strength want to make money, they can easily accept various bounty missions on the black market. They can easily get tens of millions or even more rewards by completing a mission casually, and there is no need to endure the cowardice of the daimyo and his subordinates here. Of course, this premise is to have strength. So where did the ninjas without strength go? They still went to be dogs for the daimyo. Even Asuma and Jilu, who are relatively strong among the 12 guardians. Asuma is also a serious Konoha shinobi, a second generation of fire with a good family background. Jilu is the head of the fire temple. In essence, the two people are not the other 12 guardians who can touch porcelain. At this moment, seeing Uchiha Itachi approaching step by step, the panic in the hearts of the daimyo and the nobles was instantly magnified to ultimate. Uchiha Itachi's red cloud robe put too much pressure on them. He was terrified and stammered. I am willing to pay double the price, as long as you can let me go. The daimyo at this time still naively thought that he could solve it with money. Faced with this situation, even the battle-hardened and experienced Hoshigaki Kisame almost laughed out loud. What on earth are these daimyo's heads filled with? Then, a cruel and hideous smile appeared on Kisame's face. Kisame turned his head to look at Uchiha Itachi and asked, "One fight 7-san, do you want me to teach them a profound lesson?" Kisame's appearance looks like a cruel and ruthless ninja. So his pressure at this time is extremely terrifying for these daimyo. But unexpectedly, Uchiha Itachi rejected Kisame without hesitation, Kisame's suggestion. After all, Bai Ye said that he would teach them a lesson that left a deep impression. But he didn't say to kill them. At this time, Itachi really didn't dare to disobey Bai Ye's order. Then Itachi said to Kisame, "No need to do this, I have a better way to deal with the current situation." However, not long after the words came out, Uchiha Itachi seemed to suddenly remember something important, and after a pause, he muttered to himself, "Well, it seems that there is no conflict between the two. Just let Kisame not kill them when he takes action. Wait until Kisame has tortured them physically, then give them a mental torture." This method is really great. Kisame was slightly startled, with a hint of surprise on his face, but soon he returned to his ruthless look. He saw that he carried his huge and ferocious sacral muscle without hesitation, took heavy steps, and slowly walked towards the other party. Every step he took was like a shinigami knocked on the door, which made people shudder. "Ah! Help!" Screams of terror came one after another. Just seeing Kisame's brutal behavior, those poor guys were already scared to death. At this moment, the nobles were filled with despair and fear, and completely lost the courage to resist. With a roar, Kisame raised his knife and the extremely sharp samahata flashed through the air like lightning, slashing at one of the nobles fiercely. In an instant, blood splattered and a deep wound appeared on the man's body. However, this wound was not as simple as that caused by ordinary weapons. Advertisement: the unique serrated blade of the sciatica muscle made the wound area larger and deeper, and the blood splashed directly, instantly dyeing the surrounding ground red. Ah! Everyone was completely stunned by this bloody scene. What's more deadly is that the pain caused by samahata when it cut into the human body is beyond imagination. The piercing pain was unbearable. Although Kisame's knife did not hit the vital part, the intense pain still made the man faint instantly. Kisame couldn't help but feel a little stunned when he saw the Fire Nation nobles falling down easily in front of him. He frowned and turned to Itachi and said innocently, "So vulnerable? I've just started." For Kisame, who had experienced many battles, such an opponent was too weak. He had not even exerted half of his strength in torturing people. Originally, he had at least 9 extremely cruel methods to slowly torture these guys, but he didn't expect them to be so weak. Kisame shook his head helplessly, then turned to look at Uchiha Itachi beside him, and said with a wry smile, "One fight 7-sang, this." At this time, his face was full of disappointment. How come the other party fainted before his torture began? Itachi shook his head slightly at this scene. As he expected, Kisame was indeed a master at killing people, but when it came to the means and techniques of torturing people, Kisame seemed too immature. Of course, there was also a possibility that these people's tolerance was too low. A little torture made them faint, but it didn't matter. Itachi naturally had his own way. Itachi shouted, "Tsukuyomi!" In an instant, a powerful and mysterious illusion power burst out from him, sweeping towards the daimyo like a tide. Faced with such a terrifying illusion attack, these nobles who were usually pampered and high above had no resistance at all. It is no exaggeration to say that they had zero resistance to Uchiha Itachi's illusion. In the blink of an eye, Uchiha Itachi easily controlled all the people present in the illusion world he created with just a glance. In this world created by illusion, every daimyo was tied tightly to a huge cross, unable to move at all. At the same time, Uchiha Itachi quickly used the clone technique to differentiate into many phantoms that were exactly the same as the original. These phantoms held extremely sharp ninja swords, and together with Itachi himself, they launched rounds of piercing at the daimyo who were tied to the cross. Each attack was so precise and fierce, and the ninja swords pierced the bodies of these daimyo mercilessly and continuously. Moreover, such cruel torture was not fleeting, but lasted for 72 hours. What's more terrifying is that because they are in the world of illusion, even if these daimyo are full of despair and fear in their hearts, it is impossible to end this endless pain through death. The shrill screams resounded throughout the conference hall, one after another, and never stopped. At this moment, the Tsukuyomi space has become a hell on earth, with painful wails everywhere. Compared to Kisami's direct and brutal physical torture, Uchiha Itachi's illusion torture is undoubtedly more horrifying, and the pain it brings is even more indescribable. It's really worthy of being a 1-on-7 san. Kisame widened his eyes and looked at the shocking scene in front of him with astonishment, and his admiration for Uchiha Itachi became even more serious. Such powerful strength and ruthless means are really beyond the reach of others. Kisame at this time was deeply impressed by the terrifying power displayed by Uchiha Itachi, and even his breathing became a little rapid. Why, Kisame also wants to try it. Advertisement. Itachi turned his head slightly, his eyes were calm as water, but he seemed to be able to see through everything. Zero, please give me flowers. He looked at the curiosity on Kisami's face that could not be concealed, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly, and asked with a smile. Hearing this, Kisame was stunned at first, then he quickly waved his hand and shook his head, laughing dryly. Don't joke, Yidaki-san. I don't have the courage to try such a powerful method as yours. After saying that, he subconsciously took a few steps back, as if he was afraid that Chie Itachi would really let him experience that terrible taste. However, thinking of this, Kisame became curious. Then why didn't Yidaki-san use this trick when fighting with that person? This is something that Kisame can't understand, because he knows that Uchiha Itachi's illusion ability is simply unmatched. No matter how difficult the opponent was before, he might not be able to survive a glance. Here, I would like to praise Deidara by name. At that time, Itachi's performance when pulling Deidara into the group was wonderful. Bai Ye. Uchiha Itachi's heart flashed a deep fear. It's not that he didn't cast illusions on Bai Ye. But he tried to cast it countless times, but it's useless. Just like Bai Ye is immune to all illusions, immune to illusions, can you believe it? This is why Uchiha Itachi didn't choose to use distinguished heavenly gods at the last moment. Zero, because he was worried that this thing would be useless against Yoruichi. On the contrary, he wasted the opportunity of distinguished heavenly gods this time. At this time, the nobles in the living room once again ushered in waves of screams. Even Kisame felt a little sympathetic when he heard this scream. Because Kisame knew very well that this kind of mental torture was far more unbearable than the pain suffered physically. After all, there is always a threshold for physical torture. Once it exceeds a certain limit, the brain will automatically activate the protection mechanism, causing people to faint directly, thus temporarily getting rid of the unbearable pain. However, mental pain is pervasive and endless. It will constantly erode people's will like a demon until it is completely defeated. But I don't know how Mr. Itachi came up with this trick. Look at these guys who don't know their own strength. I really don't know where they get their confidence from. They dare to go against Lord Bai Ye. At this time, Hoshigaki Kisami's fear of Bai Ye has reached its maximum. After all, as a double agent, Kisame has seen strong people before. The leader of the Akatsuki organization, Pain, and his real boss, Uchiha Madara. But none of them have the kind of dominance that Bai Ye has shown. Once the wood style comes out, who can compete with it? Try not to provoke Bai Ye during this period, Uchiha Itachi said with great fear. Of course, as Kisame said, he looked around at the enemies lying in a pool of blood with contempt. In his opinion, these people are just insignificant ants compared to Uchiha Itachi and Bai Ye. They dared to challenge the authority of the strong. It's really stupid. At this time, Bai Ye of Tsunade didn't know that Uchiha Itachi had successfully completed the task. After all, he was too experienced in torturing people. In this regard, Sasuke had something to say, and Bai Ye had almost taught Gaara. At this time, Gaara already had the most basic elements of a cage. In order to prevent the Akatsuki organization from targeting one tail, Bai Ye also placed a true eye on Gaara. After all, he is his apprentice who is a prank. You can let him go, but you can't let him go. Tomorrow, notify Chio and the others and announce that you will become the next cage. I should leave too. Just as Bai Ye and Gaara finished talking, Naruto's true eyes sent an abnormal mountain again. Chapter 73. Bai Ye takes action. Princess Tsunade is shocked. Please order the full version. On the other side, Naruto actually found Tsunade in the tavern under Bai Ye's guidance. How can Bai Ye predict everything so well? Naruto's eyes were full of disbelief. It was as if Bai Ye knew everything. If I ask Bai Ye who my parents are, will Tsunade know? Naruto's mind began to work. Jiraiya. And who is this kid? N. Tsunade, who was drunk in the tavern, subconsciously shouted after seeing Jiraiya. Oh, Master Tsunade, you've drunk too much. Shizune was trying to dissuade him, but it was useless. Tsunade, long time no see. Jiraiya came with Bai Ye's purpose this time. It's really troublesome. I won't be in trouble, right? Tsunade was still drunk in the last second, and the next second he instantly returned to normal. The third-generation old man died in the battle. Unfortunately, Tsunade's expression did not change at all after hearing the news. Oh, so what? It was hard to see a trace of sadness on Tsunade's cold expression. The Hokage sent us to find you and take over his position as Hokage. Jiraiya had just finished speaking. Tsunade almost opened his mouth to curse. Who is the Hokage? Why does he let me go back to be the Hokage? Hokage. I won't go, Tsunade said with an extremely resistant expression. Tell me, who is the acting Hokage, the Inkathinoan kid or someone else? Tsunade swore that if it was Kakashi, 030, he would beat him until he regretted it. Let him know what the consequences of provoking him are. No, not Kakashi, the new Hokage is countless times stronger than Kakashi. When mentioning Bai Ye, Jiraiya's expression began to become serious. Tsunade knew Jiraiya's character. No one would let Jiraiya show such a reaction. At this time, Tsunade became a little interested in this acting Hokage. In fact, this new Hokage is related to you by blood. Thinking of Bai Ye's terrifying wood-style bloodline limit. Jiraiya has never seen such a powerful ninjutsu. Oh, you are related to me by blood. Tsunade became more curious after mentioning this. You know Tsunade is a person who values feelings very much. Especially his own family. Otherwise, Tsunade would not have completely suffered from hemophobia after seeing Naoki's sacrifice. Could it be someone from the Uzumaki clan? No, no. Tsunade immediately refuted his own idea. The only person from the younger generation of the Uzumaki clan who knew him was Kushina. Although Kushina was also a woman who wanted to become Hokage. But after all, Kushina had been gone for so many years. But if it wasn't Kushina, who would it be? Tsunade fell into deep thought. She had never thought about the Senju clan. Because the current situation of the Senju clan, those who know it know it. I say Jiraiya, stop keeping us in suspense. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya complainingly. Who is it? Bai Ye. Jiraiya said the name of that person. Bai Ye. Tsunade fell into deep thought. He didn't seem to know a person named Bai Ye. You should be familiar with this person's surname, Senju Bai Ye. When Jiraiya said this, Tsunade's pupils shrank. How is it possible? The Senju clan has long been. Tsunade didn't finish her words. The reason why Tsunade said all this was not because she didn't want to see a Hokage from the Senju clan. But it was simply unbelievable. Besides, when I left Konoha, there were no famous Senju clan members. Tsunade didn't believe that in just a few years, Konoha had a Hokage from the Senju clan. That's because, Bai Ye, is only in his early teens. Thinking of this, Jiraiya said in shock. Advertisement. When he first knew that Bai Ye was only in his early teens, he even began to doubt his life. You know, when he was this age, he was still hanging out in the women's bathhouse. Even Orochimaru had just learned the Shuriken Shadow Clone technique. However, Byakuya already has strength far beyond cage level. What, you're not strong enough? Not even as strong as me. Shizune, who was holding Tun Tun, was so shocked that his mouth opened as wide as it could be. As if he couldn't believe this scene. Jiraiya, you better not joke with me here. Tsunade said with a serious expression. Pervy Sage is not joking, Byakuya is in the same class as me. Naruto said with great pride. Although everyone was not discussing him, as a classmate of Byakuya. Naruto would also feel extremely honored. Who is this brat? When adults are talking, children should not interrupt. Naruto was broken down by Tsunade's words before he could say a few words. Since Byakuya is so strong, let him continue to be the Hokage. I won't go back. Tsunade rolled her eyes. In this case, she was even more reluctant to return to Konoha. Anyway, Konoha will only prosper in Bai Ye's hands. At this moment, Naruto began to emit a beam of light from the sky. What is this? Tsunade was confused. Because this thing has never been seen before. What is this? Only Jiraiya had a slight impression. According to Naruto, Bai Ye used this ninjutsu to come to him last time. Then a conspicuous figure appeared behind Naruto. Long time no see, Jiraiya, and Tsunade-sama. Bai Ye's amazing appearance instantly shocked several people. So handsome. This was Shizune's first impression of Bai Ye. Sharp eyes, fair skin. Even Shizune, who was quiet, was moved. Even Shizune couldn't look into Bai Ye's eyes. So she could only lower her head quietly. Are you Bai Ye? After all, Tsunade was not a little girl like Shizune. So she could still remain shocked when she saw Bai Ye's stunning appearance. But even so, Tsunade had to admit that Bai Ye was handsome. More handsome than anyone he had ever seen before. Bai Ye had a very outstanding appearance, short black hair, deep black eyes and a handsome face. Even all this made Tsunade wonder if every female ninja would be attracted to Bai Ye involuntarily. Bai Ye sat down casually after seeing Tsunade. Even facing two Sannin who were much older than him. Bai Ye was not panicked at all. Hokage-sama, I followed your orders to find Tsunade, but... Jiraiya on the other side gave Bai Ye a look. It means that I have completed the task you gave me, and it's up to you next. Bai Ye just nodded. This is the first time he saw the legendary Princess Tsunade, Konoha's #1 nanny, a big fat sheep, and Konoha's gambler, walking money printing machine. It must be said that Tsunade's charm really transcends her age. She has long light yellow hair, often tied into a large ponytail, and a blue-purple mark of the 100 healings mark on her forehead. But this is not the most important thing. It is not Bai Ye's first reaction to Tsunade. Fair skin and big breasts, and a plump figure that is unmatched in the entire ninja world are Bai Ye's first impression of Tsunade. Bai Ye's admiring eyes have nothing to hide. Everyone has the right to appreciate beauty. What's more, Tsunade is also looking herself up and down now. After noticing that Bai Ye was observing her breasts, Tsunade proudly showed her big breasts. I say, little brat, you are young, but you have a lot of thoughts. Facing Tsunade's sarcasm, Bai Ye did not care. Because she knew that Tsunade was such a person. Quote. Bai Ye was interrupted by Tsunade before she finished speaking. Why call me princess? You are also a member of the Senju clan. Just call me Sister Tsunade. Tsunade said directly and firmly. Advertisement. Sorry, I really don't want to call Tsunade sister. Bai Ye would naturally not fall for Tsunade's trick. If he called her sister, it would be equivalent to acknowledging the blood relationship between the other party and himself. Then he would ask Tsunade to be the Hokage. Tsunade could immediately use her sister's status to check and balance himself. You see, I am your sister, how dare you force me to do something I don't like? Don't want me to be your sister. Do you want me to be your wife? Tsunade showed a sly smile. If Tsunade-sama likes it, I don't mind. Bai Ye responded decisively. Faced with Tsunade's teasing, Bai Ye was not at all inferior. I'm really puzzled, this Bai Yoruichi doesn't look like a man of his age at all. Quote. Tsunade said in a puzzled way. If it were someone else of this age, they would have been too shy to face the camera. But Bai Ye could still joke with him openly. This kind of demeanor is not what a person of this age should have. This scene made Naruto beside him look at him. Naruto looked at Bai Ye with admiration, his eyes full of admiration. Just now, he was speechless after 2 sentences said by Tsunade. But Bai Ye could actually make him speechless. It's so strong. Little brat, you don't give me face at all, right? Tsunade warned fiercely. But this expression even looked a little cute to Bai Ye. Can you imagine a mature and charming older sister acting like a spoiled child with you? I might as well be honest, I don't want to be Hokage. When Bai Ye said this, the reactions of the people around him were different. Naruto was envious, Bai Ye didn't want to be what he wanted to be. It's just that Naruto knew that this pie would definitely not fall on his head. Tsunade was a little surprised. She didn't expect that this little guy's idea was exactly the same as hers. It can only be said that they are not real siblings, but they are better than real siblings. Since you don't want it, and I don't want it either, don't embarrass me. Quote. Tsunade picked up the wine glass and drank it all. Bai Ye also picked up the wine glass when he saw this. Who told you to drink? Are you old enough? Tsunade subconsciously grabbed Bai Ye's hand and stopped him. The two had never been so close before. The fragrance exhaled by Tsunade could even blow directly to Bai Ye. Master Tsunade, you are too close. Bai Ye reminded Tsunade, who was about to put the big breasts. 5.5 rabbits against himself. Tisk, you don't know how to enjoy it. Tsunade was the first time that someone disliked him for kendo. Has Tsunade's charm declined to this point? Humph. Tsunade glared at Bai Yoruichi again. By the way, it seems that someone is not yet 18 years old. Quote. Shizune, what are the laws of Konoha? Shizune was a little confused when Tsunade called him. But the next second Shizune answered naturally. No drinking is allowed for those under 18 years old, otherwise you need to undergo a week of ideological education. When it comes to Konoha's regulations, Shizune can be said to be open-mouthed. This is why Shizune is the most suitable person to be the Hokage's secretary. Really, is there such a law? I don't have any impression of it. Quote. Bai Ye smiled calmly, as if he didn't take it seriously at all. Of course there is, and the Hokage violated it, etc. Tsunade emphasized, of course the latter sentence was made up by her. After all, the people who made the laws for Konoha would never have thought that the Hokage of Konoha would be under 18 years old. In that case, I will change this law now. Bai Ye said casually. Tsunade was stunned. No, it can be played like this. The Hokage can change the law unscrupulously. I don't care. Anyway, I don't want to be a Hokage. Seeing that Bai Ye was unmoved, Tsunade simply started to act like a spoiled child. Chapter 74 Bai Ye persuades Tsunade to capture an Orochimaru as a pet. Please order the whole thing. Anyway, there is only one central idea, that is, not to be the Hokage. This Hokage loves whoever he wants. In short, just don't throw it to her. Princess Tsunade, this is boring. Bai Ye sighed. He will definitely resign from the position of Hokage next. Because his plan for the next step has been made. First, travel to various ninja villages and collect some more powerful entries. Ever since Bai Ye discovered that the place and person of the sign-in will affect the entry obtained. Bai Ye has already made this plan. Therefore, Bai Ye will definitely resign from the position of Hokage. But now all he has to do is convince Tsunade. Bai Ye knows that Tsunade's feelings for Konoha are very complicated. On the one hand, it is because this is the village founded by Senju Hashirama. And Konoha is where Tsunade has lived since childhood. Tsunade is naturally full of feelings for this place. But on the other hand, this brother of his hand died on the battlefield because of the decision of the top leaders of Konoha. Isn't it funny? Senju Hashirama founded Konoha to prevent children from going to the battlefield. Senju Tobarama also founded the ninja school to prevent children from being exposed to war too early. But, the funny thing is, these did not change the fact that Naoki died in the war at a young age. So, Tsunade has an inexplicable aversion and disgust for war and politics. In addition, Tsunade even suffers from hemophobia. At this time, Tsunade would never agree to become Hokage. But Bai Ye has absolute confidence that he can convince Tsunade. How about this? How about we make a deal? Bai Ye said lightly. But Tsunade felt that he could never agree to Bai Ye's request. No matter what chips Bai Ye offered. Anyway, it is impossible for him to be Hokage. You say. But Tsunade still wanted to hear what Bai Ye could come up with to convince himself. Tsunade-sama, come closer to my ear. Bai Ye just said with a smile. At least for now, the conditions he was going to give could only be known to Tsunade alone. Tisk, so mysterious, do you think I will agree? Tsunade didn't care, but his body still leaned over very honestly. His body was just next to Bai Ye's shoulder. Bai Ye could even feel the heat radiating from the huge thing in Tsunade's chest. Then Bai Ye whispered his conditions into Tsunade's ear. Just for a moment, Tsunade's eyes seemed to be fixed. Then Tsunade stared at Bai Ye motionlessly. Are you telling the truth? Tsunade's eyes lost their calmness. Even Tsunade's heart began to get anxious. Of course, I have no reason to lie to you. Bai Ye smiled. He was absolutely sure of the chips he gave. I still don't quite believe it. But Tsunade's eyes had betrayed her, but Tsunade herself was not sure. What are you talking about? Shizune was completely confused watching from the side. Originally, Tsunade's attitude was still very firm, but Bai Yoruichi's words directly changed Tsunade's attitude instantly. This is a bit too incredible. I need some time to think about it. Tsunade's heart was confused, so she couldn't give an answer immediately. No problem, Princess Tsunade. Bai Ye was very tolerant, he didn't ask Tsunade gave the answer immediately. After all, this kind of thing may sound unbelievable. However, Bai Ye has the system and has absolute confidence in what he promised. Let's go, Jiraiya, Naruto. Bai Ye said and took Naruto away from the hotel temporarily. Along the way, Naruto was even very curious. Bai Ye, what did you say to her? Why did her attitude suddenly change so much? Naruto said curiously, but Bai Ye did not answer. Jiraiya did not say anything. Because the only thing that Tsunade cares about is that child. Advertisement. Thank you for coming here, Hokage. Quote. Jiraiya said to Bai Ye. Don't worry, it doesn't take long to get here from Sunagaku. Bai Ye said lightly, but Jiraiya was completely shocked by this sentence. No, you were just in Sunagaku. Jiraiya had a lot of question marks on his head. He always thought that Bai Ye's teleportation was the same as Minato's Flying Thunder God. Both can be used as short-distance teleportation. But after seeing it today, Jiraiya felt that Flying Thunder God could not be compared with Bai Ye's space ninjutsu. After all, Flying Thunder God can't teleport directly from Sunagaku to here. In that case, Hokage-sama, are you going back? Jiraiya asked casually but didn't expect to ask the key. No, maybe there will be a good show here. Quote. Bai Ye felt the breath of an old friend here. But it seems that this old friend doesn't know that he is here yet. Just catch him and throw him to Sasuke. Bai Ye was worried that Sasuke would keep pestering him. Today, there is a solution. Oh, what a good show, what a good show. Jiraiya still looked unaware. He didn't have the terrifying perception ability of Bai Ye, so naturally he couldn't detect it. Don't worry, wait until he shows up. Bai Ye then disappeared into the crowd with Naruto and Jiraiya. Sure enough, on another street a few blocks away. A mysterious man covered in a black robe was looking for something under the guidance of two people. Ahem. The mysterious man covered in a black robe seemed to have been seriously injured. Kimimaro, is the person we are looking for really here? A girl with red hair and glasses on the other side said. I don't know, Kimimaro replied expressionlessly. At this time, he was only responsible for protecting Orochimaru who was injured. He goes wherever Orochimaru tells him to go. How boring. Karen, who was just transferred from the southern base by Orochimaru, looked dissatisfied. How could they wander aimlessly like them? It's nearby, the information can't be wrong. Orochimaru's pale face was revealed under the black robe. It seems that even if he escaped from Bai Ye successfully last time, Orochimaru also paid a huge price. His current body has developed a huge resistance due to living corpse reincarnation. If he can't find a suitable body, I'm afraid Orochimaru only has 1 year. Go to the nearby casinos and taverns. Orochimaru can only let Kimimaro support him at this time. Konoha's battle. Orochimaru's losses are really too serious. The 4 people of Odogaku were killed by Bai Ye on the spot. Yakushi Kabuto was captured and imprisoned by Konoha. It can be said that Orochimaru is seriously short of manpower now. Open black lens bracket 0145125008 Fei Lu 174,351,111. Otherwise, Karen would not have been transferred from the southern base. Karen, please sense it. Orochimaru turned his head and looked at Karen. Got it. Karen nodded. Then the huge perception from the Uzumaki clan began to spread around. In another restaurant, Bai Ye felt it at the first time. This perception is interesting. Bai Ye directly sensed the two people around Orochimaru. One is Kimimaro, and the other is probably Karen. Advertisement. Only Karen from the Uzumaki clan can have such a strong perception ability. Bai Ye interfered with Karen's perception, so that she could not find out what was happening here. What happened? Even Jiraiya didn't notice what happened just now. Master Jiraiya, you are one of the Sannin after all. Shouldn't you be more vigilant in this regard? Bai Ye said to Jiraiya in a stern tone. Jiraiya, who was having dinner with Naruto, was stunned for a moment. He didn't notice what happened just now. Just now, a sense of perception almost discovered you. Bai Ye glanced at Jiraiya and said. You know, there is a nine-tails Jinchuriki here. For Karen, this is equivalent to someone turning on a 1,000,000-watt light bulb in the middle of the night. Isn't it obvious that there is someone here? What? Jiraiya was completely shocked after hearing this. As one of the Sannin, he didn't notice anything unusual. I'm just reminding you, Master Jiraiya. Bai Ye just wanted Jiraiya to be more vigilant in the future. To prevent a situation like Rain Shinobi Village from happening again in the future. Then what should we do now? Jiraiya began to be more vigilant. But Bai Ye just shook his head lightly. All the movements of Orochimaru and his group were under his surveillance. Tsunade on the other side was still unaware that Orochimaru had also come over. Tsunade-sama, what should we do? Shizune looked at Tsunade, who curled up on the sofa without saying a word, and said with some concern. Since Bai Ye left, Tsunade-sama seemed to be in a huge dilemma. He just curled up on the sofa. You know, Shizune has never seen Tsunade behave like this. Tsunade-sama has always been generous, strong and a gambler. He has never seen Tsunade-sama show such a face. It can be seen that the conditions given by Bai Ye are very tempting. So much so that Tsunade was also a little moved. At this time, Orochimaru finally came over. Unlike Bai Ye who deliberately hides himself, Tsunade did not deliberately hide his chakra. So Karen found Tsunade's location immediately. Long time no see, Tsunade. As soon as Orochimaru's voice came out, Shizune was alerted instantly. Then they greeted each other like Yoruichi Haku. But Yoruichi Haku's handsome appearance would not make people feel dangerous. But Orochimaru's outfit plus the two ninjas behind him. It's hard not to think of something. Orochimaru, what are you doing here? Tsunade knew it was him after hearing Orochimaru's familiar voice. But Tsunade now doesn't bother to pay attention to Orochimaru. She is not like Jiraiya who is obsessed with Orochimaru. I came here to discuss a deal with you. Under the black robe, Orochimaru showed his pale face. You want to discuss a deal too? Shizune was confused. Why did he come to Tsunade today to discuss a deal? Oh, is there anyone else who said that? Orochimaru showed an interested expression. Fortunately, Shizune was quick-witted and said that a casino wanted to make a deal with Tsunade. In the end, it was unknown whether Orochimaru believed it or not. Anyway, Orochimaru stopped asking. Orochimaru, you look like you are about to die, what can you talk about? Tsunade only took a glance at Orochimaru and knew that Orochimaru was dying. And Tsunade could also see that it was because Orochimaru used living corpse reincarnation many times. The soul and the body are now extremely mismatched. As long as you can temporarily suppress my current condition, I can. Ahem. Orochimaru coughed before he finished speaking. It can be seen that this body is now seriously repelled from his soul. So he now needs Tsunade to help him reduce the side effects of the repulsion. Orochimaru knew that if there was someone who could heal him, then this person could only be Tsunade. Why should I help you with your treatment? Tsunade simply didn't give Orochimaru any face. Bai Ye just now was at least a sunny and handsome boy, who could make Nasho feel happier. After seeing Orochimaru, Tsunade only felt unlucky. Don't you want to listen to the conditions I give? Orochimaru seemed to have an absolute self-confidence in his conditions. But this scene seemed to Shizune. It seemed that he had seen it somewhere. Chapter 75. Bai Ye uses his injury to cure his illness, Tsunade feels distressed. Please order the full version. Not interested, I'm not interested in anything now. Tsunade thought of Bai Ye when he heard this familiar words. What happened today? Why do you always want to negotiate a deal with me? I can help you revive Naoki. Orochimaru smiled faintly. He thought that his words would immediately shock Tsunade. But he didn't expect Tsunade to have no reaction at all. Instead, Shizune's expression was full of surprise. Orochimaru, it's different from the plan. Doesn't Tsunade care about Naoki, his brother, at all now? Get out of here before I get angry. Tsunade smashed the table in front of him with a hammer. It seemed that if Orochimaru didn't leave in the next second, this would be his next fate. Tsunade-sama. Shizune was already desperate after seeing this scene. The money they had was only enough for this one drink. Since Lord Tsunade has been so busy today, they might not be able to leave. Lord Orochimaru. Kimimaro glanced at Orochimaru. As long as Orochimaru gave the order, he would act without hesitation. But Orochimaru obviously did not intend to use force. After all, this was a last resort. Tsunade, think about it carefully. I know that Naoki's death has always been a knot in your heart. I am also very sad. Because Naoki is also my apprentice. Orochimaru tried to play the emotional card with Tsunade. But this trick didn't work at all. You want to use Impure World reincarnation to make Naoki restless. Tsunade saw through Orochimaru's so-called resurrection at a glance. How did Tsunade know? Orochimaru was a little surprised. When did his hand become so familiar with this kind of thing? HMPH, Orochimaru, don't think I don't know what your purpose is. Tsunade refused without giving Orochimaru any face. He even belittled Orochimaru harshly. If that's the case, then do it. Orochimaru just sighed, and then ordered Kimimaro to do it directly. Ah, what's going on? Why are we going to fight? Karen, who was watching the show on the other side, was already a little confused. Orochimaru called her over but didn't say he wanted to fight. At that time, he only said to help find someone, but didn't say he needed to fight. But Kimimaro naturally wouldn't listen to Karen. Kimimaro waved his hand and slashed at Tsunade. This scene happened too quickly. Even Shizune didn't have time to stop it. Tsunade-sama. Only Shizune knew that Tsunade was suffering from hemophobia. So he didn't dare to attack anyone. Sure enough, Tsunade was staring at this scene blankly at this time. Boom. A powerful impact came down. To everyone's surprise, the hand was not injured at all. A figure appeared in front of Tsunade. Bai Ye stretched out his right hand to block Kimimaro's attack. Bai Ye. Tsunade felt a little palpitation when he saw Bai Ye appear. If Bai Ye hadn't appeared just now, his hemophobia might have been. Orochimaru. Long time no see. Advertisement. Bai Ye stared at Orochimaru indifferently. But in Orochimaru's view, this was simply the smile of a devil. When did you get close? Why didn't I notice it? As a nurse and scout, Karen didn't notice it at all. Bai Ye had already arrived in front of them. How is it possible? Karen was absolutely confident in her perception ability. But Bai Ye slapped her hard the next second. Wait. Karen suddenly realized something after seeing Bai Ye. Then she was so scared that she hurriedly protected Orochimaru in front of her. Kimimaro was also stunned. Someone actually dared to catch his attack with his hands. Dead bone pulse. Dozens of spiked bones began to grow on Kimimaro's arms. These spikes wanted to pierce Bai Ye's palm. But unfortunately, they didn't work at all. Not only did the spiked bones not hurt Bai Ye, but they broke directly. How is it possible? Kimimaro did not participate in the Konoha collapse plan. This led to him not knowing the gap between himself and Bai Ye. Bai Ye, you didn't hit him. Tsunade couldn't help but worry after seeing this scene. After all, Bai Ye is one of the few relatives who share the blood of the Senju clan with her. Tsunade pulled Bai Ye's hand over and wanted to check if he was injured. But because of the existence of chakra body refining technique, Kimimaro didn't even scratch his skin. However, looking at Tsunade's worried expression, Bai Ye had an idea in his mind. In order to overcome Tsunade's fear of blood, she must take the initiative to face it. After seeing Tsunade so worried about him, Bai Ye could only say sorry to her in his heart. So, Kimimaro's next attack. Bai Ye still used his bare hands to receive it. However, this time Bai Ye did not use chakra body refining technique to protect himself. But even so, Kimimaro's bone spur did not penetrate Bai Ye's palm. Bai Ye frowned slightly. Before, Bai Ye's impression of Kimimaro was that this guy was quite strong. But after reaching this level, he found that Kimimaro was not strong enough. It seems that I can't let him go, I have to let him go. Bai Ye was also fortunate to have met several Pacific art performers. He was naturally not unfamiliar with letting him go. Finally, under Bai Ye's letting go, Kimimaro's bone spur finally penetrated Bai Ye's palm. Under Bai Ye's control, blood flowed out. This is blood. Tsunade on the other side almost lost her balance after seeing this scene. But then the anger in her body replaced the fear. After all, Bai Ye now represents the last inheritance of the Senju clan. Most of the Senju clan have been completely integrated into the civilian population. Only Bai Ye has awakened the once invincible wood style. So, Bai Ye is already the last inheritance of the Senju clan. Super strength. At this moment, Tsunade even forgot the existence of hemophobia. Then he punched Kimimaro with all his strength. Bang. The powerful impact directly knocked Kimimaro out. It stopped after directly smashing 3 walls in a row. Are you okay? After doing everything, Tsunade looked at Bai Ye with an extremely worried expression. At this moment, Bai Ye even felt a little sorry in his heart. Advertisement. Because the wound was almost healed. Even if he didn't use chakra body refining technique, the powerful recovery power of wood style would automatically heal Bai Ye. Tsunade. Master Tsunade. Shizune looked at Tsunade grabbing Bai Ye's bleeding palm with a surprised look. But there was no reaction at all. Then Shizune showed an excited expression. Master Tsunade, have you overcome your hemophobia? Tsunade was so angry just now that he didn't notice that he didn't have that horrible reaction after seeing blood. I overcame it. Tsunade himself was still a little bit unbelievable. But the facts were in front of him. Tsunade, who had reacted, tried to use the healing jutsu to treat the injured Bai Ye. After a while, there was no trace on Bai Ye's hand. When did my healing jutsu become so effective? Tsunade said with some doubt. Although he hadn't used the healing jutsu for a long time, Tsunade knew that the effect couldn't be so fast. Thinking of the scene just now, Tsunade's eyes began to calm down when he looked at Bai Ye. Tsunade just looked at Bai Ye silently. When their eyes met, Bai Ye even had a regretful thought. You know, Bai Ye rarely regrets. Everything he did was planned in detail. The scene just now was to help Tsunade get rid of her hemophobia. Sorry, Sister Tsunade, I won't do it next time. Bai Ye called out Sister Tsunade's name for the first time. Anyway, he and Tsunade have the same blood. The next second, Tsunade held Bai Ye in his arms. Don't do this next time. Tsunade's voice has never been so gentle. It's as if he is two different people from the bold Tsunade before. Tsunade doesn't want Bai Ye to choose to help her solve her hemophobia in this way. You know, the reason she suffers from hemophobia is because she is afraid that her relatives will be hurt in front of her again. So she doesn't want to see Bai Ye choose to get hurt because of her hemophobia. Backquote. Understood. Bai Ye sighed and replied. He was a little reckless this time. He didn't expect that he had such a position in Tsunade's heart. This also shows how much Tsunade values his relatives. Even though Bai Ye and Tsunade had never met before. But when she heard that Bai Ye and she had the blood of the Senju clan flowing in their bodies, Tsunade had already regarded Bai Ye as her only relative. Bai Ye gently wiped the corners of Tsunade's eyes so that no one would notice the flickering things in the corners of Tsunade's eyes. Then he gently combed Tsunade's hair. This made Tsunade look like she didn't want to cry. It's over, it's over. Kimimaro was beaten away by a circle. Quote. What should we do now? Karen hid behind Orochimaru and trembled. She finally felt how terrifying the day and night in front of her were. When his breath was fully opened, Karen even thought she was facing a Shinigami. Hey, Jiraiya, are you sure you don't want to plead for me? Orochimaru rarely glanced at Jiraiya behind him. He just noticed Jiraiya's arrival. Orochimaru didn't even dare to imagine what would happen to him if Jiraiya didn't plead with him. Looking back at his previous two deaths at the hands of Bai Ye. The first time was at the hands of 8 inner gates, and the second time was even more exaggerated, directly at the hands of the strongest striker of 8 inner gates. Each death was more miserable than the last. Orochimaru couldn't even imagine what would happen to him this time. No, hurt, Lord Orochimaru. Kimimaro forced himself to come in front of Orochimaru. But Orochimaru just patted him lightly. Stop it. Kimimaro, you can't be his opponent. Orochimaru knew very well that Qian Dezhou was just Bai Ye showing off. If they really fought, Kimimaro would not just knock down 3 walls. Ahem. And because Orochimaru had a strong repulsion with this body, Orochimaru could not exert any strength at all. Bai Ye. Jiraiya thought about it and stood up. Although he didn't know if it was possible, Jiraiya still wanted to plead for Orochimaru. I have my own arrangements for dealing with Orochimaru. Bai Ye interrupted Jiraiya and said directly and decisively. It's outrageous. How could Konoha have a genius like you? Orochimaru shook his head. He would never have thought that Konoha would have a genius like Bai Ye. In front of Bai Ye's absolute strength, all his plans seemed like a joke. Even he might be a joke in Bai Ye's eyes. If I could do it again, I would never be your enemy. This is Orochimaru gained the most useful experience after dying twice. That's why he only dared to ask Tsunade to treat him this time. Go ahead. Orochimaru no longer had any hope of living. But Bai Ye didn't see him take action. I told you, I have my own way of punishing you. Bai Ye would not just kill an excellent scientist like Orochimaru. After all, there are not many scientists in the ninja world. Compared to killing Orochimaru directly, Bai Ye wanted to use Orochimaru to shine. Bai Ye has the strength to make Orochimaru obey him. The old man of the 3rd generation couldn't suppress Orochimaru, but it didn't mean that he couldn't suppress Orochimaru. Chapter 76. Find a dad to play with Orochimaru. Please order the whole thing or customize it. Bai Ye's decision also made Jiraiya feel relieved. Since Bai Ye did not kill Orochimaru immediately, it means that he would give Orochimaru a chance to live. But I am still curious, how will Konoha punish me? Orochimaru's expression is still full of disbelief. The punishment for you is very simple. Or, it is not a punishment for you at all. That is, go to be a teacher to Uchiha Sasuke and teach him ninjutsu. As soon as Bai Ye said this, Orochimaru was stunned. What is going on? You know, Orochimaru worked so hard just to kidnap Uchiha Sasuke, didn't he? For this, Orochimaru was even beaten to death twice. But now Bai Ye actually told him to teach Uchiha Sasuke. What was the purpose of all the things he did before? I find it hard to believe that you asked me to teach Uchiha Sasuke. Aren't you afraid that I will teach Uchiha Sasuke badly, or plot against his body? Orochimaru asked back. Obviously, At this time, he really thought that Bai Ye wanted him to accept a disciple. Bai Ye was not worried at all that Orochimaru would teach his father badly. As for plotting against Sasuke's body, Bai Ye glanced at Orochimaru, whose soul power was already extremely weak. He looked like this, and he really didn't want Sasuke to kill him. After all, the soul strength of Sasuke was not something Orochimaru could care about now. Bai Ye, do you want to reconsider this matter? Jiraiya also persuaded. Although he had a good relationship with Orochimaru, he didn't think that Orochimaru would really teach Uchiha Sasuke with all his heart. There's no need to dissuade him from doing this. Bai Ye was absolutely sure about this matter. Bai Ye, who is familiar with the plot, knows that Orochimaru is absolutely filial to Sasuke. You know, Bai Ye rarely uses the word filial to describe the relationship between master and apprentice. Here you can see how perverted the relationship between the two is. Ahem, I agree, but with my current body, I'm afraid I won't live to that time. Orochimaru really didn't lie this time. The side effects of dying twice are also very strong for him. So much so that now Orochimaru must find a body that fits him again to survive. Then Orochimaru saw Bai Ye's disgusted eyes. But I am definitely useful, I can provide you with a lot of help. Orochimaru hurried to prove the value of his existence. Really, what is your value? Bai Ye wanted to ask Orochimaru about this. He knows the banned books, and he knows almost the same, even more than Orochi's 2 meetings. It's just that Bai Ye is too lazy to learn the ninjutsu with great side effects like living corpse reincarnation. Quote. Orochimaru was really speechless for a moment. The only thing he could really show off was impure world reincarnation. But Bai Ye also knew impure world reincarnation. And judging from the last situation, Bai Ye's proficiency in impure world reincarnation was better than his. I have some research in science. In the end, Orochimaru could only say this in general. Because apart from that, he really couldn't think of anything else about himself that was worthy of Bai Ye's attention. In short, you just need to teach Uchiha Sasuke, and I won't ask about the rest. Bai Ye also gave Orochimaru a chance. As for the physical problem you mentioned, I will find you the most suitable one. Bai Ye's promise made Orochimaru a little unbelievable. Because even Orochimaru couldn't find the most suitable body. Now the only thing that Orochimaru would like is Sasuke's body. Bai Ye, you won't follow Orochimaru to do those inexplicable research, will you? At this time, Tsunade interrupted the conversation between Bai Ye and Orochimaru. Then Tsunade looked at Orochimaru fiercely. Orochimaru, if you dare to take Bai Ye to do those experiments, I will make you miserable. Obviously, the warning of the national player is very effective. How could it be? Orochimaru said quickly. Advertisement. Don't worry, Tsunade, I won't participate in those experiments with Orochimaru. Bai Ye looked at Orochimaru with clear eyes. Tsunade. From Bai Ye's eyes, Tsunade knew that Bai Ye would not lie to him. That's good, I'm worried that you and Orochimaru will learn bad things. Tsunade explained quickly. Orochimaru. Forget it, I don't want to say anything more. By the way, Bai Ye, I want to talk to you alone. Thinking of this, Tsunade thought of a very serious matter. Shizune instantly understood what Tsunade meant. In that case, Master Jiraiya, let's leave first. Quote. Then Shizune took Jiraiya and the others out without hesitation. Only Tsunade and Bai Ye were left alone. By the way, what happened to this table? Could it be that Orochimaru did it? Bai Ye did it. But before Bai Ye could say anything, Tsunade looked at Bai Ye with a serious expression. Are you serious? Can you hide Naoki without side effects? Tsunade's eyes were full of hope. She hoped that Bai Ye was telling the truth. Yes, but it takes time. Bai Ye would not lie to Tsunade. After studying the system for such a long time, Bai Ye found out. Even time-space ninjutsu, and top-level blood limit can be obtained. Even resurrection is no longer just a hope. However, in order to get more rewards, Bai Ye still needs to go to some other places to sign in. This is why Bai Ye wants to resign from the position of Hokage and choose to travel around the ninja world. I believe you. Tsunade stared at Bai Ye with his expression. I can go back to being Hokage. Tsunade no longer had the joking expression he had before. Tsunade was rarely serious at this moment. I really don't know why you have so many tricks. Tsunade said jokingly. He is handsome, powerful, and has become a Hokage at this age. Tsunade didn't know how many girls in Konoha were pestering Bai Ye. No, I will expand our Senju clan as soon as I become Hokage. The first thing Tsunade did after returning to normal was this. At least I have to find 7 or 8 wives for you first. Tsunade's next fierce words shocked Bai Ye. Are you kidding me? Bai Ye thought Tsunade was joking with him. What does it mean to find 7 or 8 wives for himself? Why, you are not interested in those girls in Konoha. Tsunade guessed Bai Ye's thoughts at once. Not everyone has such a broad mind as Sister Tsunade. Bai Ye glanced at Tsunade's proud breasts. It should be said that Bai Ye was attracted by the big white rabbits when he saw the Aiea national player. Why, do you like me like this? Tsunade proudly raised her breasts. You know, there are so many girls in Konoha who envy her figure. It seems that if I find a wife for Bai Ye in the future, I must find someone of the same level as me. However, Tsunade subconsciously glanced at her breasts. Forget it, it's not impossible to find someone who is one level lower than me. However, Tsunade still felt a little reluctant to see such a young and handsome Bai Ye. When Bai Ye and Tsunade were talking in the house. Outside, Naruto and Karen were already discussing Bai Ye. By the way, why are you so afraid of Bai Ye? Naruto asked curiously. Why did Karen hide behind Orochimaru when she saw Bai Ye for the first time? I'm not afraid, I'm cautious all the time. Karen said stubbornly. Naruto actually didn't know why, but he always felt a sense of familiarity with Karen in front of him. Let me tell you, Byakuya is so nice that he actually found a teacher for Sasuke himself. Naruto is still happy for Sasuke, although the two of them often quarrel. Advertisement. However, at this time, Sasuke can become a disciple of that guy named Orochimaru. Naruto is still happy for Sasuke. I just don't know what that Orochimaru can teach Sasuke. I feel that Orochimaru is so weak. This is Naruto's impression of Orochimaru. Maybe Byakuya often abuses Orochimaru, which gives Naruto a wrong feeling. That is, Orochimaru is very weak. Because in the usual fights with Byakuya, Orochimaru often does not survive for more than a minute. Orochimaru is very big and strong. At this time, Kimimaro, as the number one snake blower, naturally couldn't stand it. Kimimaro immediately retorted, who is stronger, Byakuya or Orochimaru? Naruto's words made Kimimaro, who has always been silent, even more defensive. Master Byakuya. Finally, Kimimaro could only say helplessly. Because this is the truth. If the two of them fight 10,000 times, Master Orochimaru will really lose 10,000 times. By the way, Karen, you haven't told me why you are so afraid of Byakuya. At this time, Naruto asked curiously. This. Karen didn't know how to answer. And I think Byakuya doesn't seem to have any impression of you at all. I participated in the Chunin exam before, and met Hyakuya Tento in the Death Forest. Karen said in a low voice. Chunin exam. Is this true? Naruto didn't expect Karen to have participated in the Chunin exam. But a person as careless as Naruto is destined to have no impression. I met a black bear when I was participating in the Kusagakure village. Quote. At that time, Lord Bai Ye passed by and slapped the bear with just one slap. Karen did not describe the scene in detail. In short, in Karen's opinion at that time, Lord Bai Ye seemed to be more terrifying than the black bear. In that case, isn't Bai Ye still your savior? Naruto exclaimed. Karen also nodded, and she also admitted that Bai Ye was her savior. It's just that the shadow left on Karen at that time was too deep. And Lord Bai Ye later met my teammates in Kusagakure village. Karen's expression became silent. It's said to be a teammate, but in fact, he didn't treat her as a human being at all. At that time, Lord Bai Ye. Karen was a little unable to describe the scene. In short, it was very bloody. Later, Karen knew that she would be worse off than dead if she returned to Kusagakure village. So she ran away when she was near Sound village. Then she was killed by the newly reincarnated Orochimaru took a fancy to her. After training for a period of time, she was sent to the southern base. Oh, that's why. I was wondering why Karen was so scared when she saw Byakuya. But it doesn't matter. Byakuya doesn't know you. Maybe he has forgotten this matter a long time ago. Single quote. Naruto's comfort can only be said to be unique. In fact, Karen still hopes that Byakuya can remember her. Although she was too insignificant at that time. Too insignificant to be remembered by Byakuya. After all, Byakuya is now Hokage. On the other side, Orochimaru and Jiraiya were also chatting happily. If the two sides did not discuss the forbidden technique research, Orochimaru was still very happy to communicate with Jiraiya. After all, the two sides have experienced so many things together. It is no exaggeration to say that it is the relationship between Naruto and Sasuke. I hope the old man can rest in peace down there. Jiraiya sighed and said, after all, they are Sannin, and the person that the third generation values most is actually Orochimaru. Even at the beginning, the third generation was planning to train Orochimaru as the successor. But, fate is so cruel. At this time, Tsunade and Bai Ye also came out. Chapter 77 Uchiha Obito. I always feel like someone is watching me. Please order the full version. Tsunade-sama, Byakuya. Shizune was very happy when she saw Tsunade and Byakuya come out. Because this means that the two of them should have reached an agreement. It is hard to imagine that Tsunade-sama still had an attitude of preferring death to being a Hokage. But after talking with Yoruichi Haku, he changed his mind. Shizune, pack up your things, let's go back to Konoha. Tsunade said to Shizune as soon as she came out. Understood, Tsunade-sama. Shizune knew that the two of them had nothing to pack. Shizune couldn't find a second thing on her body except the pig, Tuntun. At the same time, Karen was still looking around. Since Orochimaru was taken back to Konoha, it should have nothing to do with me, right? Karen was interrupted by Byakuya before she finished her words. Karen, you should go back with him. Byakuya didn't give Karen any room for choice. He directly decided to take Karen with him. Ah, me. Karen pointed at herself in disbelief. She didn't expect that Byakuya would not only recognize her, but also take her back with him. But, Karen was still thinking about what to say. But she accidentally saw Byakuya's face control attribute start to work again. Okay. Karen didn't know why she suddenly agreed to Byakuya's request. Maybe, she was really attracted by Byakuya's teacher's aura. A few days later, when Tsunade accompanied Byakuya to Konoha Village. The whole Konoha was boiling. Aren't those Lord Bai Ye and Princess Tsunade? Did Lord Bai Ye invite Princess Tsunade back? Of course, Lord Bai Ye also has the blood of the Senju clan. Everyone was talking about it. When Tsunade left Konoha, the impact was unprecedented. But everyone thought that Lord Tsunade might not come back. But unexpectedly, Bai Ye was able to find Tsunade back. But doesn't Konoha already have Lord Bai Ye as Hokage? This question caused people to think. Yes, Konoha is now truly thriving under the leadership of Bai Ye. Bai Ye is much better than Sarutobi Hiruzen. The villagers of Konoha all admit this. Because Bai Ye will not indulge people like Danzo or doing evil in Konoha. Bai Ye will not lead them to humiliate and beg for peace with other ninja villages. In addition, Bai Ye is so young, sunny and handsome, and has a lot of experience. Most people in Konoha still hope that Bai Ye can continue to be Hokage. Ahem. Where is the body that you said is most suitable for me now? Orochimaru showed his pale side under the black robe. It's not that he doesn't believe in Bai Ye. But he feels that he really doesn't have much time left. So Orochimaru has to seize the time to find the next body that suits him best. Don't worry about this. Quote. I said you can't die, and you can't die. Facing Orochimaru's anxiety, Bai Ye just said lightly. Since he said there was a way, he would definitely help Orochimaru solve his physical problems. I really miss everything. Tsunade looked at the surrounding scene with emotion. It seems to be exactly the same as when he left that year, and there is no change. By the way, I haven't drunk in Konoha for a long time. I must drink to my heart's content today. Sure enough, after returning to Konoha, Tsunade's true nature was completely exposed. But, Temtoman. Shizune was still thinking about what to say. But Tsunade just waved his hand. If I become Hokage, I'm afraid I will have even less time to enjoy it. Quote. Why not relax in advance at this time? Shizune really couldn't find any chance to refute Tsunade's words. Bai Ye just watched from the side and didn't stop him. After all, his mission of bringing Tsunade back to Konoha was almost completed. There was no need to restrict Tsunade in this way in the future. Orochimaru, can you do your living corpse reincarnation now? Bai Ye glanced at Orochimaru indifferently. If possible, he thought about solving Orochimaru's problem today. Tomorrow, he will just throw him to Sasuke. Let them fend for themselves. Orochimaru was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Rii could help him find a body without side effects right now. This made Orochimaru curious. I need an assistant to help me detect it. Orochimaru thought about it and replied. He really needed an assistant to help him. And Kimimaro and Karen beside him obviously didn't seem to be able to be his assistants. This is easy. Quote. Bring Yakushi Kabuto here. Quote. Advertisement. As the Hokage, Anbu immediately took action after Bai Ye casually mentioned it. Then the efficiency of the action was beyond imagination. Not long after, Yakushi Kabuto was brought over. Bai Ye hit someone. Orochimaru-sama. Yakushi Kabuto was a little confused when he saw Orochimaru. How come Orochimaru-sama was caught by Bai Ye again? To be honest, he didn't know that this was the first time Orochimaru-sama was captured. Long time no see, Kabuto. Orochimaru looked at this most suitable assistant with satisfaction. In the future, if he surrenders to Bai Ye, he may need to transfer Yakushi Kabuto to assist him. Don't be surprised, as you can see, I also surrender to Bai Ye. Orochimaru seemed to see through Yakushi Kabuto's doubts. So he explained for him. What? Yakushi Kabuto didn't react to what happened for a while. Would someone like Orochimaru-sama actually admit defeat? Don't be so surprised. Orochimaru was really beaten and scared. And with the current strength of Orochimaru's soul, if he died again, he would probably die. Then where should we go now? Karen looked curious. This can be said to be her second time in Konoha. What Karen wants now is to finish the things quickly. Then go shopping. Crazy shopping. Karen has long envied the prosperous Konoha. When she was in the southern base before, that place was so remote. Even if Karen had money, she couldn't buy anything. Next, let's go to the Uchiha clan. Where is Sasuke now? Bai Ye just said lightly. Could it be? Orochimaru himself was stunned. He really didn't expect that the most suitable body Bai Ye told him was Sasuke. You think too much. Bai Ye snorted coldly. Orochimaru is really not afraid of death. Even if I give Sasuke to Orochimaru, he really dares to devour Sasuke's body. You will know when we get there. Bai Ye didn't explain too much. But he took Orochimaru and the others to the Uchiha clan's clan. At this point, Uchiha Sasuke was still practicing. Bai Ye thought that Sasuke would listen to his last reminder to him. But what Bai Ye didn't expect was that Sasuke started to get worse again. I saw Uchiha Sasuke actually practicing fire style in the training ground. Was it because I didn't remind him clearly enough last time? Ahem. Sasuke. Bai Ye coughed twice. Sasuke turned around and found Bai Ye instantly. When? Sasuke was a little surprised. Bai Ye showed up here with so many people, but he didn't notice it at all. Are you practicing fire style ninjutsu? Bai Ye frowned and looked at Sasuke. It seemed that Sasuke misunderstood what he meant. Didn't you say last time that I should grasp the key points of the Uchiha clan? Sasuke explained. Last time, Sasuke went back and studied it carefully for 3 days. Finally, Sasuke understood Bai Ye's meaning. I'm afraid Bai Ye wanted him to concentrate on the fire style of the Uchiha clan. Don't be delayed by lightning style. 0. Please give me flowers. So after that period of time, Sasuke began to practice fire style crazily. At this time, Sasuke was confident that few people could match his attainments in great fireball technique. Og. Bai Ye sighed softly. Advertisement. Sure enough, I really couldn't teach Sasuke. My reminder at that time was to let Sasuke focus on Sharingan. As a result, Sasuke seemed to be putting the cart before the horse. He spent all day studying that fire style ninjutsu. By the way, has the great fireball really killed anyone? Bai Ye doubted it. Wait, Inosukumaru. Sasuke finally recognized the black-robed man next to Bai Ye at this time. This man was Orochimaru, who had planted a mark on him in the Forest of Death. Don't be afraid, he will be your master in the future. You can get to know him in advance. Bai Ye said to Sasuke. Sasuke really should thank Bai Ye. In the entire ninja world, there is no one more suitable to be Sasuke's teacher than Orochimaru. By the way, what are you doing today? Sasuke looked at Bai Ye and the others curiously. You know, no one has come to the Uchiha clan for a long time. Sasuke is the only one living in the 2 streets nearby. Of course, something. The next second, Bai Ye's figure disappeared. Oh. With a click, the trees near Sasuke's training ground were directly twisted off. A white human-shaped thing appeared in Bai Ye's hand. What is this? Sasuke was confused. He had been training in this training ground for so long. But he had no idea what this thing was. What is this? Even Orochimaru was attracted to it. I didn't sense it at all. Karen's eyes widened. At first, she thought it was just an ordinary tree. But she didn't expect it to be this thing. Even Karen didn't sense it. This thing is a bit mysterious. Orochimaru knew Karen's ability. Nothing can escape Karen's perception. Of course, except Bai Ye. But that's because Bai Ye's strength is too strong, he can block Karen's perception at any time. But what is this thing? Orochimaru even started to study it in public. This thing is a bit similar to Akatsuki's Zetsu. Orochimaru had seen Zetsu before, so he quickly recognized this thing. What is the use of this thing? Because Bai Ye acted too quickly, the white Zetsu was strangled to death. So Orochimaru also figured out what the function of this thing is. It's very simple, this thing is used for surveillance. Bai Yoruichi saw at a glance that this was the masterpiece of Uchiha Obito. When his perception covered the entire Konoha, he had already discovered this thing. But at that time, he had no interest in these things. After all, he didn't use impure world reincarnation very much. So these white Zetsu indulged them to continue to disguise. But this does not mean that Bai Ye does not know the existence of these things. It can be said that almost all the locations of white Zetsu in the entire Konoha have been marked by Bai Ye. What Orochimaru found today is just one of them. You can take a look and see if this can be used as your body without corpse transformation. Bai Yoruichi's words immediately made Orochimaru's eyes burn. Could it be that this thing is what you told me? Orochimaru's expression became completely excited. Then he and Yakushi Kabuto conducted experiments directly on the spot. Without instruments, they came to the conclusion through the experience of several people. How can this thing be so adaptable? Orochimaru was stunned. The physiological characteristics of white Zetsu are that they can quickly regenerate themselves and adapt to various environments. This ability makes them have strong survivability in battle. And this is just a short experiment and too many advantages have been discovered. If a deeper experiment is conducted, Orochimaru can't believe what will happen. Chapter 78 Sign in again, Golden Entry Impure World Reincarnation Illustrations. Please order the full version. At this time, Orochimaru looked at Bai Ye with admiration. He didn't expect Bai Ye to find such excellent impure world reincarnation materials. However, Orochimaru said with a slightly regretful expression, it's a pity that this one died. Do you have any more? Bai Ye acted too quickly just now and killed this white Zetsu directly. Easy. Bai Ye used wood style to trap all the white Zetsu in the entire Uchiha clan. Because of the existence of wood style, they were isolated from the ground. One by one, the white Zetsu were covered from their hidden state. Good, so many. Karen stared at the scene in front of her blankly. How could there be so many? Who put so many white Zetsu here? Uchiha Sasuke never thought that his every move in Konoha was monitored by someone. The key is that he doesn't even know who is monitoring him. Why is the other party monitoring him? Orochimaru's eyes are completely fanatical. So many excellent experimental subjects were placed in front of him. This also made Orochimaru experience the difficulty of making choices for the first time. Will you give all these white zetsu to me? His breathing began to become rapid. Orochimaru still doesn't believe this scene. It's up to you. I'm not interested anyway, Bai Ye said lightly. His move was just to remove all the eyes of Uchiha Obito in Konoha. As for how to deal with these white zetsu, if Orochimaru hadn't been there today, Bai Ye's 447 meant killing them all. There are still many places in Konoha, I will catch them all later. Before Bai Ye finished speaking, Orochimaru stood up and began to express his loyalty. I agree to all your previous conditions, and I can also give up Sasuke's body. Quote. For Orochimaru, after Bai Ye gave him so many white zetsu, Sasuke seemed less important. Besides, Orochimaru knew that Bai Ye's strength was impossible to resist. Rather than dying in Bai Ye's hands again, it is better to completely surrender to Bai Ye. Although I can't help you much in ninjutsu, I can provide you with some science and technology. At this time, Orochimaru knew that this was his only advantage. You just need to teach Sasuke well. Bai Ye refused Orochimaru's help. Anyway, these white zetsu were planted by Uchiha Obito, and he would have to deal with them sooner or later. Speaking of Obito, Bai Yoruichi wanted to fight him all the time. See who is stronger between his own Shunyu shadow killing formation and Uchiha Obito's Kamui. It just so happened that he would resign from the position of Hokage in a while and travel around the ninja world. At this time, Orochimaru's help to him would be dispensable. So Bai Ye did not expect Orochimaru can't help. On the contrary, Konoha may need this guy Orochimaru. After dealing with all the white zetsu in Konoha, Bai Ye finally finished his work. On the other side, in the Akatsuki base, Uchiha Obito has been feeling palpitations recently. It seems that he is being stared at by something. I always feel something is wrong. It seems that I am being stared at by someone. Quote. Uchiha Obito always felt a sense of uneasiness, a feeling that had never happened before. Obito, you worry too much. With white zetsu monitoring the ninja world, all intelligence cannot escape my sight. Ju said with great confidence. If we only talk about the strongest intelligence network in the ninja world. He dares to say he is second, and no one dares to say he is first. As that's so, Obito said doubtfully. Advertisement. Has there been any special situation in Konoha recently? Obito asked about Konoha. Since he decided to implement Project Tsukuyomi, the entire Konoha has been targeted by Obito. The Kakashi you asked me to monitor is still the same. Every day, he is either holding those pornographic books or visiting your grave. Obito always felt that this kid Ju seemed to be scolding him, but he had no evidence. What do you mean by visiting my grave? Can't you say it more elegantly, so straightforward? Humph. Kakashi is completely hopeless. Obito shook his head. The former genius Jonin fell into this state step by step. According to Obito's monitoring of Kakashi during this period. He can even publish a book, The Path of Change from Genius Boy to Delinquent Jonin. Do we still need to monitor Kakashi? White Zetsu asked curiously. In his opinion, there is no need to monitor Kakashi at all. Keep monitoring. Obito did not give up monitoring Kakashi because of this. By the way, the new Hokage of Konoha killed Orochimaru. This matter is well known in Konoha, so it is not difficult for White Zetsu to get this news. The new Hokage of Konoha. Obito's expression became serious. Do you have any information about this person? Obito attaches great importance to Bai Ye. Such a young genius ninja can actually defeat a lot of Konoha's old strong men. Ascend to the position of Hokage. This is definitely not the strength that ordinary people can show. Z was confused for the first time. Because the white Zetsu in Konoha never seemed to pass on any information about Bai Ye. In fact, they only got information about Bai Ye from other people in Konoha. No information about Bai Ye. Z could only bite the bullet and say. What? No information about Bai Ye. Obito felt a little funny for a moment. Wasn't Ju like this in front of him just now? Didn't he say that nothing could escape his sight? I'm also a little puzzled. It seems that no white Zetsu has ever passed on Bai Ye's information to me. Ju only reacted at this time. At that time, he didn't seem to realize the abnormality. I will give orders to the white Zetsu of Konoha and let them investigate Bai Ye's information. Unfortunately, he was destined not to wait for the information he wanted. On the other side, Bai Ye took Orochimaru to capture all the white Zetsu. Bai Ye suddenly wanted to try it. What strange ninjutsu or entry can be obtained by signing in with Orochimaru? System. Sign in today. Ding. Congratulations to the host for winning the golden entry, Impure World Reincarnation Picture Book. Impure World Reincarnation Picture Book. The Impure World Reincarnation Picture Book collects samples of all ninjas in the ninja world, and provides the host with samples of Impure World Reincarnation, without restrictions and side effects. This is. Bai Ye felt confused for the first time. Why are the things I get when signing in with Orochimaru all weird? Then Bai Ye mobilized the system and found that there was really an extra ninja picture book in his mind. Including all the ninjas he knew, almost all of them were in this picture book. From Senju Hashirama, to Namikaze Minato, to Nohara Rin.
Almost all of them were included in it. System, you mean I can impure world reincarnation all the ninjas in these picture books, right? Advertisement. Bai Ye seemed to understand this impure world, the role of the reincarnation encyclopedia. If this is true, its role is simply too exaggerated. It can be said that it is worthy of its status as a golden entry. Yes, the system's answer made Bai Ye more convinced. But, as far as I know, Namikaze Minato's soul seems to have been trapped in the body of the Shinigami. Can it be summoned like this? Host, the system's priority is the strongest, and the Shinigami can't stop you from using the Ebi Tensei. Bai Ye now feels that his identity has instantly changed from Hokage to a master of dreams. Forget it, let's save this thing for later. Bai Ye currently has no intention of using this thing. Although this thing is very useful, Bai Ye does not need impure world reincarnation to help him for the time being. By the way, Orochimaru, I'll take some of these white Zetsu. But even so, Bai Ye still took some of the white Zetsu in advance. This made Orochimaru feel extremely sad. Even Bai Ye felt that when the third generation old man died, Orochimaru wasn't so distressed. We'll have as many of these as we want. Quote. Bai Yoruichi's words made Orochimaru feel less sad. How many of these things are there? Orochimaru even began to doubt the origin of this thing. This kind of thing always feels like something that can't be found in the ninja world. Master Bai Ye, do you know where there are these white Zetsu? The expression on Orochimaru's face betrayed him directly. I say, these are enough for you to study. Even if I tell you next, I'm afraid you won't be his opponent. Bai Ye didn't think that Orochimaru in this state would come back alive if he met Uchiha Obito. I understand, I'm a little greedy. After Bai Yoruichi's words, Orochimaru quickly dispelled this idea. Then Bai Ye took Orochimaru away from the Uchiha clan's land. 3 days later, Bai Ye announced that he would resign from the position of Hokage. This scene directly caused an uproar in Konoha. Many people wanted to persuade Bai Ye. This time, the chiefs of the 3 tribes of Ino Shikacho, the chief of the Hyuga tribe, and the heads of various departments have almost all arrived. What do you want to do with such a big scene today? Bai Ye said indifferently while looking at so many chiefs. No, Bai Ye blocked everyone outside the door with just one sentence. Bai Ye, are you really going to resign from the position of Hokage? Azuki Yugao looked at Bai Ye reluctantly. Because he knew that Bai Ye must be planning to leave Konoha for a while after resigning from the position of Hokage. Don't be too sad, I didn't plan to be the Hokage for too long. Bai Ye gently wiped the corners of Yugao's eyes. It can be seen that Yugao really can't bear to leave herself. Go tell them that the Hokage who will live there will be Tsunade. Bai Ye did not plan to meet them. There were so many clan leaders, Bai Ye really did not have the time. $789. Azuki Yugao walked out very obediently. Since Bai Ye handed over the inheritance of the demon sealing sword soul to Yugao. Yugao's strength has greatly increased, and she was evenly matched with Kakashi at one point. Yugao was no longer an ordinary Anbu member at this time. With Bai Ye's help, she became the captain of Anbu. However, it is estimated that there will not be much change after Tsunade takes office. 0.8 Bai Ye is too familiar with Tsunade. She and himself have the same personality. He does not want to be a Hokage because he does not want to be bound. Tsunade does not want to be a Hokage now simply because if she becomes a Hokage, she will not be able to get drunk every day. After all, if she becomes a Hokage, she will not be able to get drunk every day. Hokage still pays some attention to his image. After Shi Yan's explanation, the others also understood that Bai Ye was really determined to leave. They had no choice but to accept this fact. But in their opinion, Hiashi was born to be Hokage. Not only did he successfully win over Tsunagaker, he made Tsunagaker pay Konoha a large sum of money, and even made the two sides become firm allies. Some time ago, the Daimyo even sent his butler in person, hoping to get Bai Ye's support. And he took out 100 million ryo as a gift for Bai Ye to become Hokage. But didn't the Daimyo unite with Danzo a few days ago? Why did his attitude suddenly change so drastically? Although everyone didn't know what happened, they knew that all these lessons were the credit of Bai Ye. In addition, Bai Ye often had advanced political ideas. Even Nara Shikaku, Konoha's think tank, had to admit that Bai Ye was definitely a genius among thousands. But now it has been replaced by Princess Tsunade. Of course, this sentence does not mean that the hand is not good. It is simply because Bai Ye is too perfect, so no matter who the next one is, it will be difficult to compare with Bai Ye. Chapter 79. Traveling around the ninja world at night, Terumi Mei, the most beautiful girl in Kurigakure. Please order the whole thing or customize it. By the way, it seems that the task for this Hokage is not that heavy. At this time, Tsunade walked in with Shizune. She was still smug. It was obviously the Hokage's office, but there were no documents or anything like that. This gave Tsunade a feeling that the Hokage was very relaxed. Tsunade-sama, this. Just as Azuki Yugao was about to explain, Bai Ye interrupted Yugao's words. It's best that Tsunade can think so. You know, the documents that should have been sent to the Hokage were as high as a mountain. It's just that Bai Ye was too lazy to read them, so he asked Nara Shikaku to handle them all. But this is because of the relationship between Nara Shikaku and himself. After today, all the documents may have to be handed over to Tsunade to solve alone. In order to prevent Tsunade from being scared, it's better not to tell her the truth. By the way, when are you going to leave? Tsunade suddenly asked a question. Then the air became quiet. I just want to tell you to be careful outside. Quote. Tsunade's expression revealed her worry for Bai Ye. In fact, this is the reason why Tsunade came here. Otherwise, with her personality, she would have gone to drink somewhere long ago. How could she come here? I understand. Bai Ye was a little amused. He didn't expect that Tsunade came here in person just to care about him. He thought Tsunade was here to familiarize herself with the duties of Hokage in advance. Tsunade-sama is still too worried about Bai Ye-sama's safety. I said Bai Ye-sama is very powerful and there is no need to worry. But Tsunade-sama insisted on coming to see it in person. Shizun's words directly exposed Tsunade's current mood. Shizun, what are you talking about? Tsunade was very dissatisfied with Shizun for speaking out her inner thoughts. Don't worry, Sister Tsunade, don't worry about my safety. Quote. Bai Ye smiled faintly. Bai Ye now believes that there is no place in the ninja world that can limit him. In other words, he can go wherever he wants. No one can stop him. By the way, do you know Sakura? Tsunade suddenly asked about Sakura. What happened to Sakura? Bai Ye said curiously. During this period, Sakura's teammate, Naruto, continued to practice with Jiraiya. Even Uchiha Sasuke has Orochimaru's personal guidance. Today, Sakura came to me to become my disciple. How could Tsunade not see Sakura's thoughts? She obviously wanted to improve herself after seeing the growing relationship between her and Bai Ye. Sure enough, this is also in line with Sakura's personality. Bai Ye didn't say anything. I admire this little girl, so I accepted her as my apprentice. Tsunade thought about the future plans of the Senju clan, so he accepted Sakura. Sakura. I'll probably leave tomorrow. Bai Ye has already decided on his first stop in the ninja world. Kurigakure. It just so happens that Zabuza and Haku should still be in the land of waves. Time quickly came to the next day. Bai Ye didn't even say goodbye to everyone. He just chose to leave Konoha after resigning from the position of Hokage. In less than half a day, Bai Ye arrived in the territory of the Land of Waves. At this time, the Land of Waves has undergone earth-shaking changes. After the bridge was built, the entire Land of Waves and the outside world have communicated more frequently. You should know that the Land of Waves itself is rich in seafood and has a good geographical environment. It's just that it has been in a state of poverty because of Cardo's control. Advertisement. After Bai Ye solved Cardo, the living standards of the entire Land of Waves rose immediately. Meetings to Lord Bai Ye, meeting Lord Bai Ye. Zabuza and Haku have been waiting for a long time. By the way, this statue, what does it mean? Bai Ye took a look and saw that Wave Country had actually built a statue of him next to the bridge. Master Bai Ye, the villagers of Wave Country agreed unanimously when they built the bridge. It's not easy for the two of us to stop them. Zabuza explained hurriedly. The key is that Bai Ye's reputation in Wave Country is too high. So much so that the villagers here built this statue for Bai Ye spontaneously. Bai Ye, where are we going next? Zabuza was already a little thirsty. Before, Bai Ye asked him to guard Wave Country, which made him bored. A dignified elite Jonin can only go fishing with Bai early in the morning and late at night. Today, he finally received Bai Ye's order and can finally be a ninja again. During this period, Zabuza seems to have killed more fish than people. Sometimes, Zabuza even doubts whether he is a fisherman or a ninja. Let's go to Kurigakure. I want to meet the legendary Kurigakure village flower. Quote. Bai Ye said with interest. No problem. Wait, Kurigakure. Zabuza just agreed, but he was a little confused. Master Bai Ye, where are we going? Zabuza doubted his ears. He really didn't dare to go back to Kurigakure. You know why he became a rebel ninja, because he failed to assassinate the fourth Mizukage. As a result, he was driven out. Now Zabuza is still on the wanted list of Kurigakure. You let Zabuza go to Kurigakure, it's like a mouse seeing a cat. Zabuza, do you know the other Kurigakure 7 ninja swordsmen? Bai Ye did not answer Zabuza's question, but asked a strange question. I know them. Zabuza was a little confused. Why did Master Bai Ye ask this? I heard that you escaped because the coup failed. Kurigakure, are you going to be a wandering ninja for the rest of your life? Bai Ye's words hit Zabuza's heart. To be honest, among the 7 Kurigakure who are still alive, he is indeed a little scared. The coup he prepared with full confidence was beaten like a stray dog by the fourth Mizukage. As a result, Zabuza is now completely scared. Master Byakuya, you don't know, that guy Mizukura. Zabuza was still thinking about what to say. But the next second, Zabuza seemed to have realized something. That's not right. Accompanying Master Byakuya into Kurigakure, what is he afraid of? You know, Zabuza has heard the news that Byakuya has become Hokage everywhere during this period. Hokage in his early teens. This may have broken the record of the youngest Hokage. With Master Byakuya here, why is he afraid of Mizukura? It may be that the shadow that Mizukura left on Zabuza before was too deep. As a result, Zabuza would be somewhat unwilling to face Kurigakure subconsciously. Master Zabuza, I think we don't need to worry at all, Master Byakuya is here. Even the fourth Mizukage can't be Master Byakuya's opponent. Even Haku chose to stand on Byakuya's side. Zabuza was simply traumatized by Yagura. I am willing to lead the way for Lord Bai Ye. After Zabuza realized what was happening, he immediately planned to lead the way for Bai Ye. It just so happened that the land of waves and the land of water were across the sea from each other. It couldn't be more convenient to enter the land of water from here. Before entering Kurigakure, Bai Ye planned to change his appearance. To make himself less conspicuous. After all, his appearance was too iconic. After defeating Orochimaru last time, Bai Ye's name had already resounded throughout the ninja world. After a simple change, Bai Ye's appearance was somewhat different from his original appearance. Advertisement. Although Bai Ye's current appearance is still the top existence in the ninja world. But it doesn't make people think of the identity of the former Hokage at once. What a trouble. Then, at Zabuza's suggestion, Bai Ye chose a suitable bamboo hat. In this way, the three of them directly entered the territory of Kurigakure, the land of water. It may be because of the blood mist village of Kurigakure. As a result, the whole Kurigakure looked lifeless. Things will change only after Bai Ye enters Kurigakure. Interesting. Bai Ye looks towards the Mizukage building. There should be the fourth Mizukage controlled by Uchiha Obito. Sir, where are we going next? Although Zabuza is very familiar with Kurigakure. But where to go depends on Bai Ye's idea. Who else has cage-level strength in Kurigakure besides the fourth Mizukage? Bai Ye is still unclear about the situation of Kurigakure at this time, so he asks Zabuza. Well, I'm afraid there is only. Sir, there is someone running over in front. At this time, Bai Ye noticed that there seemed to be someone running over in front. It seems that someone is chasing him from behind. Hazuka, I'm afraid. Yoruichi recognized that the boy who ran away was Sasuke's teammate in the Eagle Squad, Hazuka. At this time, the other party should have just left Kurigakure and joined Orochimaru. However, it seems that someone is chasing him. Don't worry, sir. This is the Blood Mist Village. People escape every day, Zabuza said as if he was not surprised. Defection may be rare in other ninja villages. But it is normal in Kurigakure. Look at the backbone of Kurigakure, the 7 ninja swordsmen, some died and some defected. If Yagura continues to govern like this, it is possible that the entire Kurigakure will defect. Don't worry about him, sir. Zabuza said. Just as they passed by, Hazuka stopped. She even turned around and stared at Zabuza. You are holding a sword, right? Hazuka Mangetsu is about the same age as Sasuke, but she recognized the weapon in Zabuza's hand at a glance. In that case, the person holding the beheading sword should be Kurigakure, the rebel ninja, Zabuza. Interesting, the little devil can actually recognize me. Zabuza didn't take Hazuka Suigetsu seriously at all. My lord, I'll be back soon. Zabuza said to Bai Ye with a respectful face. Bai Ye just watched this scene quietly. Zabuza may not be able to take down Hazuka Suigetsu in a short time. Hehe. Hand over the beheading sword, and I can let you go. Hazuka Suigetsu showed his jagged teeth. At this time, he didn't even care about running away. Boy, I don't know who gave you the confidence. You dare to be arrogant in front of me when you were injured. Zabuza saw the corrosion on Hazuka Suigetsu's clothes at a glance. This kid is likely to have just been attacked by a lava-style ninja. Water style, water dragon bomb technique. Zabuza started with an A-level water dragon bomb. Water dragon bomb technique. But Hazuka didn't give him the chance. His 2 index fingers were like 2 pistols, firing highly compressed water bullets. Zabuza's water dragon bomb technique was interrupted before it was fully released. As this, bloodline limit. Zabuza didn't expect that the other party was actually the owner of bloodline limit. This is normal, no wonder the other party defected to Kurigakure. In this case, if he didn't flee, would he die? Guess who will win between Zabuza and the other party? Bai Ye on the other side just watched this scene quietly. Well, it should be Zabuza. Although Mr. Zabuza was a little careless, he was just a child after all. After Bai Ye finished speaking, Bai Ye just smiled faintly. After he recognized Suigetsu Hazuka, he knew that Zabuza would definitely not be able to defeat Suigetsu Hazuka in a short time. Because Suigetsu Hazuka's water transformation technique is simply a natural counter to ninjas like Zabuza. The secret ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation by the Hazuka clan can turn the body into liquid and be immune to physical attacks. The weakness of his technique is the lightning style ninjutsu. The paralysis effect of the lightning style will cause it to not fully liquefy. But the key is that Zabuza's means of attack are very simple. In addition to the water style ninjutsu, there is the beheading sword. These 2 ninjutsu are just restrained by Suigetsu Hazuka. And Zabuza does not have the thunder attribute chakra. P.S. Please order all. Please order by yourself. Please give flowers. Thank you all Yanzu. Chapter 80 Terumi Mei. There is no handsome boy like you in the land of water. Senior Zabuza, you are a little weak. Facing Zabuza's beheading sword, Suigetsu was always able to resolve it easily. This made Zabuza's face look more and more ugly. Lord Bai Ye was watching in person, and it would be embarrassing if he couldn't take it down. It was embarrassing enough to deal with two little ghosts in front of Lord Bai Ye last time. This time, he didn't even take down a little ghost in a one-on-one fight. Don't brag. Zabuza's beheading sword hit hard. But Suigetsu's body turned into liquid the moment the sword touched him. At this time, Zabuza felt like he was hitting cotton. Weak. You know, Zabuza was also a veteran jonin of Kurigakure before. But today, he fought with Suigetsu Hazuka with a huge advantage, but he ended up in a tie. From this, we can also see that Zabuza is really bad. He is like a diligent student. Enough. Bai Ye didn't plan to wait any longer. With just one sentence, the wood-style vines protruding from the ground directly entangled the two people tightly. System, I want to sign in. Bai Ye became curious about the blood limit of Hazuka. So he wanted to see if he could get some benefits from him. After all, the purpose of his choice to come to Kurigakure was to awaken more blood limits. Ding, congratulations host for winning the blue entry evolved version of water technique. Evolved version of water technique, blue, can turn the body into liquid, immune to physical attacks. Bai Ye thought the actual combat effect was quite strong. But after actually drawing it, he found that even the evolved water technique was only a blue entry. Forget it, just make do with it. Bai Ye didn't dislike it, after all, this entry was not good in the blue. Even if he didn't use it, he could pass it to other people under him through the enlightenment entry in the future. Who are you? Hazuka struggled desperately, trying to break free from the wood-style rattan. But it didn't work at all. At this time, he could only stare at Bai Ye with wide eyes. When did Kurigakure have such a powerful ninja? You'd better let me go quickly, there is a crazy woman chasing me behind me. Hazuka regretted it at this time. If he had known earlier, he shouldn't have thought about the beheading sword in Zabuza's hand. Now, he is in trouble. Well, sir, I'm really sorry, this guy is too cunning. Zabuza was also tied up. To be honest, Zabuza feels that he is dead now. Not only did he lose face in front of his boss, but he also lost face in front of his younger brother. In short, he lost face in his hometown. But these are too normal for Bai Ye. What level are the 7 ninja swordsmen? The first generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen was directly kicked into the 3 lucky treasures by Might Dai. Only Kurochu Raiga, Biwa Juzo, and Ziguashan Puffer are left. The key is that Biwa Juzo defected and Ziguashan Puffer also betrayed Kurigakure. The second generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen has only 4 members. It can be said that the positive reputation of the 7 ninja swordsmen was earned by this generation. Hazuka Mangetsu and Hoshigaki Kisame are the only 2 whose strength can catch Bai Ye's eyes. As for the remaining Zabuza, he can only say, he really has no right to sit at the same table with the above 2. Oh, I almost forgot, there is also Chojuro from the Boruto legend. Bai Ye's evaluation of him is even simpler. Poet's grip. Brother, please let me go. Am I really a member of Kurigakure? You are not a member of Kurigakure. Bai Ye said with some curiosity. I really just sneaked into Kurigakure. Suigetsu cried out that it was wronged. He originally wanted to sneak into Kurigakure and steal a few ninja swords. But he didn't expect to be discovered by a crazy woman in Kurigakure, who chased him all the way out. Boss, what he said is most likely true. Advertisement. At this time, Zabuza, who was untied by Bai Ye, also recognized Hozumi Mizuki. He should be Hozumi Manzuki's younger brother, who fled Kurigakure because of the Blood Mist Village incident. Zabuza asked why this person was so familiar. It doesn't matter, just accompany me to see someone. Since Bai Ye wasted an entry on Hozumi Mizuki, then accompany him to wait for the next sign in opportunity again. Who are you meeting? Hozumi Mizuki looked reluctant, but there was no way, the opponent killed him in one move. He is not an opponent at all. Terumi Mei. Bai Ye said Terumi Mei's name without hesitation. In Kurigakure, if there is anyone whose blood limit can be favored by day and night, I'm afraid there are only Terumi Mei's lava style and boil style. If possible, Bai Ye also wants to meet the most beautiful woman in the land of water who ended the blood mist in Kurigakure. Ha, big brother, you are not kidding. Hazuka said it was impossible. You know, he was chased by that crazy woman all the way. Now let me lead the way to find her, isn't this just looking for death? And that crazy woman will catch anyone she sees. Very barbaric and cruel, cold and merciless. Hazuka couldn't think of any way to describe her. You have no right to choose. After removing the wood style, Bai Ye grabbed the other party. Bai, keep an eye on him. Bai Ye handed him over to Bai. At this time, Shui Yu didn't dare to resist at all. Because Bai Ye could take him down in 1 second, and he could also kill him in 1 second. Shui Yu didn't want their Hazuka clan to break the inheritance. At this time, on the way to Kurigakure, Bai Ye didn't expect to meet the future 5th Mizukage. After all, Terumi Mei wasn't supposed to be a runaway. How could he have run into Terumi Mei right after entering Kurigakure? But sometimes, things just happen by coincidence. After moving forward for a while, a gentle brown-haired female ninja appeared in front of Bai Ye. Bai Ye, is it such a coincidence? You know, Bai Ye just used up his sign in times today. So it would be useless even if he met Terumi Mei now. Handsome boy, have you seen a boy with white hair? Terumi Mei asked with a smile. At the same time, Suigetsu, who was hiding behind Bai Ye, was about to kneel down. Little guy, you seem a little strange. You don't look like a ninja from Kurigakure, do you? Terumi Mei simply ignored Zabuza on the side. Zabuza's hat and clothes are simply a standard Kurigakure ninja. However, the Bai Ye in front of him. Terumi Mei didn't seem to have any impression. I am from Kurigakure, but Lord Terumi Mei may not have seen me. Bai Ye did not intend to reveal his identity. Really, why don't I have any impression of him? And the friend behind you, don't think I can't find him if he hides. Terumi Mei's expression was still so gentle, but there was a hint of danger in the gentleness. Is my disguise so bad? How did she recognize me so quickly? Bai Ye looked at Zabuza with some confusion. In theory, the outfit he wore was similar to Zabuza's. Why did Terumi Mei recognize at first glance that he was not from Kurigakure? I don't know, Lord, maybe it's because Terumi Mei is a flower maniac, otherwise. Shut up. The Terumi Mei, who had a gentle expression just now, turned into a female Tyrannosaurus Rex in the next second. Shu Daoshan kicked Zabuza away with a loud voice. See, I said this woman is a lunatic. At this time, Hazuka Mizuki, who was hiding behind Bai Ye, was about to cry. Terumi Mei snorted coldly in Zabuza's direction. How can you call being obsessed with a beautiful lady like a flower maniac? Advertisement. He deserved to be beaten. Then Terumi Mei fiddled with her long hair again and turned to look at Bai Ye again. Her eyes regained the image of a gentle and lovely elder sister just now. Ms. Terumi Mei, it seems that you have a unique understanding of changing your face. Bai Ye was not frightened by Terumi Mei's behavior just now. Anyway, Zabuza's performance completely met his stereotype of him. Terumi Mei also felt that her behavior just now was a bit inconsistent with the demeanor that a lady should have. So she walked slowly towards Bai Ye with her tall figure. Because in my sister's place, you are indeed different from the people around you. Terumi Mei showed a rare tenderness to Bai Ye, who was younger than her, which was rare in 1,000 years. If people who were familiar with Terumi Mei saw this scene, they would be surprised. They had never seen Terumi Mei show such tenderness before. Even if Terumi Mei could be 1% as gentle as she was just now. The entire Kurigakure Mizukage will probably belong to Terumi Mei immediately. I am just an innocent traveler who was kidnapped to Kurigakure by the vicious rebel ninja. Quote. Bai Ye directly put all the blame on Zabuza. After all, he is really a traitor. Really, I guess that a handsome guy like you must be threatened by someone. Then Terumi Mei looked at Zabuza fiercely. This scene made Bai Ye silent for a while. Is the woman in front of him really the fifth Mizukage Terumi Mei who saw through the illusion of the fourth Mizukage? Why does it feel a little bit different? How can such a person become the Mizukage of Kurigakure in the future? Also, the kid behind you doesn't seem to be very obedient. The look in Terumi Mei's eyes when she looked at Hazuka Suigetsu began to become a little colder. After she found Hazuka Suigetsu in Kurigakure, she drove him out of Kurigakure all the way. I thought he had left Kurigakure. I didn't expect him to dare to come back. He didn't really think that he couldn't catch up with him because he was not strong enough. If it weren't for the fact that Hazuka Suigetsu's elder brother died, for the sake of Kurigakure's hero. From the moment she saw Hazuka, Terumi Mei asked him to go down and accompany his brother. It's really none of my business. It was this guy who insisted on dragging me here. Hazuka could only blame the whole thing on Zabuza who was lying on the ground. He certainly wouldn't dare to blame Bai Ye. Now he could only follow Bai Ye to sell Zabuza. What about you? You little girl, weren't you also coerced by this guy? Terumi Mei looked at Bai with some anger in her chest. Qian Li's, that's right. Bai looked at Zabuza with sympathy, but then answered decisively. Terumi Mei's chest began to rise and fall after hearing this. Good guy, the kick she gave him just now was still too light. This kind of human trafficker should be kicked to death directly. He actually dared to come to Kurigakure to abduct and sell people. He really didn't take her, Terumi Mei, seriously. Then Terumi Mei was so angry that she couldn't hold her, Terumi Mei, in her eyes. Mei walked towards Zabuza, ready to kick him again. Zabuza, sensing the danger, stopped pretending. He pulled out the slashing sword in his hand and slashed at Terumi Mei. HMPH. Lava-style dissolving technique. Terumi Mei began to spit out sticky and highly corrosive acid from her mouth. You should know that even Uchiha Madara's Susanoo could hardly withstand this kind of corrosiveness. FK. It was too late for Zabuza to regret. In just a moment, a huge hole was corroded in the slashing sword in his hand. My sword. Zabuza's heart was bleeding after seeing this scene. Zabuza, loosen. Terumi Mei frowned slightly, as if she recognized Zabuza's identity. So she kept a hand at the last moment. My sword. I'm so stupid, really. Zabuza was aggrieved like a grown girl now. He never thought that after returning to Kurigakure, he would be tied by a junior. Then he was beaten by Terumi Mei. At this time, Zabuza already missed the life of fishing in the land of waves. Chapter 81 Zabuza. If it weren't for Lord Bai Ye's order, I would still be fishing in the land of waves. Please order the whole thing. If it wasn't for Lord Bai Ye's personal order at that time, maybe he would still be fishing in the land of waves. Of course, there's nothing wrong with fishing, but being a ninja would give him more freedom. But now it's different. Now Zabuza really wants to go back to fishing in peace. It's better than being beaten by others now. Zabuza, after so much time, your strength seems a bit disappointing. Terumi Mei looked at Zabuza with a hint. You're weak. Sir. At this time, Zabuza could only look at Bai Ye helplessly. As long as Bai Ye is willing to make a move, Terumi Mei is definitely not Lord Bai Ye's opponent. But it seems that Lord Bai Ye doesn't seem to have this idea. Okay. Zabuza, retreat. The game of playing house ends here. But Bai Ye didn't sit back and watch Zabuza being beaten to death. After all, he is also his subordinate. Huh. Terumi Mei looked at Bai Ye in disbelief. That handsome boy. I have to admit that Terumi Mei is actually a bit obsessed with looks. So much so that she thought Bai Ye was a good person after seeing Bai Ye for the first time. But the current situation seems a bit special. My lord. Zabuza ran back to Bai Ye with his beheading sword in a dejected manner. This scene made Terumi Mei a little unbelievable. The boy in front of me seems to be the real boss of Zabuza. Little guy, Zabuza is actually your subordinate. Terumi Mei's eyes were full of curiosity. You know, although Zabuza is not her opponent. But this does not mean that Zabuza is too weak. Among the Jonin of Kurigakure, Zabuza is still one of the best. The key is that Momochi Zabuza himself is full of ambition and iron blood. He is good at water-style ninjutsu and assassination, and his superb silent killing skills are also well known in the ninja world. He assassinated the fourth Mizukage because he was dissatisfied with the tyranny of the village. After failing, he fled the village and became a rebel ninja. Such a person would actually choose to join a teenage ninja. Terumi Mei felt that Bai Ye in front of him was definitely not an ordinary person. We have no ill will towards Lord Terumi Mei. Facing Terumi Mei's direct gaze, Bai Ye said calmly. But Terumi Mei didn't seem to think so. But I have a good impression of a handsome boy like you. Terumi Mei's flaming red lips are famous in Kurigakure. But in front of Bai Ye, she is like a gentle big sister next door. Really, I don't mind if my little brother comes to my house as a guest. It can be seen that Terumi Mei is serious. That's a pity. Our current identities are a bit sensitive, so we won't bother Lord Terumi Mei. Bai Ye just opened his mouth to refuse. But unexpectedly, Terumi Mei really didn't want to let him go. She directly said that there was no need to worry at all. Although Kurigakure is openly ruled by the fourth Mizukage, it is hard to say in private. And with your current status, it seems that there is no better choice than to follow me. Terumi Mei smiled lightly. Her ladylike temperament stood out. Advertisement. Even Bai Ye couldn't find a reason to refuse. In that case, it is better to obey than to be respectful. Bai Ye nodded slightly and agreed to the other party's request. Zabuza wanted to say something. Master Bai Ye, be careful, what if Terumi Mei wants to take us to Kurigakure to call for help? Zabuza looked at Terumi Mei with great vigilance and said. Don't worry, I believe that Lord Terumi Mei is not such a person. Bai Ye interrupted Zabuza directly. This made Terumi Mei stunned. I didn't expect this handsome boy to believe in himself. By the way, Zabuza, I didn't invite you. Terumi Mei glanced at Zabuza. How can this guy be so confident? He didn't think he was the one he invited, did he? If it weren't for the handsome boy Bai Ye protecting him. Terumi Mei must let him know why the flowers are so red. Okay, Zabuza, find a place to rest later. Bai Ye said lightly. If you are really with Zabuza, you don't have to hide your identity in Kurigakure. People recognize your identity as a traitor at a glance. Okay, boss. Zabuza can only be forced to leave. How dare you do that to Zabuza? Don't you know Zabuza's reputation? Terumi Mei asked Bai Ye with some curiosity. Normally, ninjas of this age may not even stand steadily in front of Zabuza. However, Bai Ye can not only give orders to Zabuza, but also make Zabuza have no complaints. For such a person, if you say he has no fighting power, Terumi Mei doesn't believe it. By the way, we have met for such a long time, but I still don't know your name, handsome boy. Yi Bai. Bai Ye said lightly, without revealing his identity. Yi Bai. Terumi Mei fell into deep thought. It stands to reason that a ninja like Bai Ye will never be forgotten as long as you have seen him once. That means that the other party is definitely not a ninja from Kurigakure. The other party was able to subdue a rebellious ninja like Zabuza, which means that the other party's strength is at least at the elite Jonin level. Otherwise, Terumi Mei doesn't believe that Zabuza would succumb to a teenager. But such a person has never been heard of in the ninja world. It's a bit suspicious. However, Terumi Mei still enthusiastically took Bai Ye back to her residence. She talked and laughed with Bai Ye all the way. It's hard to imagine that this person was so violent when he treated Zabuza before. And, is this the lunatic you mentioned? Why doesn't he look like him? Bai asked Hazuka with a curious look on his face. Why is there such a big gap between what he said and what Terumi Mei said? Even Hazuka was confused by this question. You ask him, who can he ask? Along the way, Hidden Knight also saw many ninjas from the Hidden Village. They also recognized Terumi Mei in front of them. For some reason, they were all shocked when they saw Terumi Mei's gentle expression. It was as if they had just met Terumi Mei for the first time. By the way, Has Lord Terumi Mei been possessed? I don't know. This is the first time I've seen Lord Terumi Mei show such a gentle expression. The words of the people around him were heard by Terumi Mei. Bai Ye, who was closest to Terumi Mei, even felt that Terumi Mei's fists were clenched. It seemed that he would hit out in the next second. I think Lord Terumi Mei is quite gentle and considerate. Bai Yoruichi's words made Terumi Mei smile. Her hands, which were clenched just now, also relaxed unconsciously. Really? That's ridiculous. She said that, but Terumi Mei was already very happy in her heart. It was the first time that she was recognized by a handsome man like Bai Ye, so it was inevitable that Terumi Mei would be so happy. By the way, it looks like you haven't eaten yet. You can taste my cooking skills later. This was the first time that Terumi Mei took the initiative to show her cooking skills to others. Looking at the entire Kurigakure, I'm afraid no one else can enjoy this treatment in person. Bai Ye has even crushed most of the people in Kurigakure. Bai Ye was a little curious about this. Terumi Mei is a single woman, so her cooking skills should probably not be bad, right? But since she's here, Bai Ye plans to give it a try. However, along the way, Bai Ye still noticed the extremely depressing atmosphere in Kurigakure. Terumi Mei also noticed Bai Ye's gaze. Kurigakure is called the Blood Mist Village, so it's normal to see these things. Terumi Mei said with a gloomy expression. It can be seen that she is also quite dissatisfied with the rule of the fourth Mizukage. Interesting, it seems that Terumi Mei has not yet realized that the fourth Mizukage is controlled by someone. Bai Ye came to this conclusion through a conversation with Terumi Mei. I'm afraid that the entire Kurigakure people don't know now. Their fourth Mizukage has actually been controlled by someone using Sharingan. It's just that they are still in the dark. Hey, little guy, you don't seem to be curious about everything here. Terumi Mei asked in surprise. Normal people should ask about this situation. Why is the entire Kurigakure dead and why are there people defecting everywhere here? Why can't the blood limit be mentioned here? However, on Bai Ye's face, Terumi Mei can't see a trace of curiosity. I'm not curious. Bai Ye shook his head and replied. But this instead aroused Terumi Mei's competitive spirit. Advertisement. No. Benefit. Not curious. Bai Ye's expression did not change from beginning to end. This scene almost broke Terumi Mei's defense. Obviously, he is just a teenager, but he does not act young at all. Forget it. After all, you are not from Kurigakure, so you naturally don't care about Kurigakure's affairs. Terumi Mei sighed and said. What Kurigakure has become has nothing to do with Bai Ye. Have you never thought that there may be something wrong with the fourth Mizukage? Just when Terumi Mei was about to give up, Bai Yoruichi's words made Terumi Mei's expression instantly become extremely serious. Don't talk about such unfounded things. Terumi Mei looked around. You must know that any slight movement in Kurigakure will attract the attention of the fourth Mizukage. Then, under the leadership of Terumi Mei, Bai Ye and his men went directly into Terumi Mei's own home. Don't say these words outside in the future. Otherwise, even I may not be able to save you. Terumi Mei said with a serious expression. What I want to ask is, has Lord Terumi Mei never doubted it? Bai Ye did not give up. Instead, he continued to ask. Unexpectedly, Terumi Mei also sighed after hearing it. How could I not have doubted it? Terumi Mei sighed. Before, fourth Mizukage was a Hokage who was very sympathetic to ninjas. Although fourth Mizukage looked very young, he had a gentleman's character. In short, fourth Mizukage was a very approachable Mizukage before. But I don't know why, the current fourth Mizukage seems to have changed like a different person. Quote. Terumi Mei's pupils began to tighten. Brutal, bloody. Anyway, the current Kurigakure ninjas will not change color when mentioning the fourth Mizukage. Terumi Mei's expression was very serious. It can be seen that the abnormal behavior of the fourth Mizukage still aroused the suspicion of many people. I have always told Master Yuan about the abnormality of the fourth Mizukage. But Master Yuan has been hesitant to confirm. Terumi Mei said angrily. At that time, Master Yuan just thought that all of her guesses were speculations. There is no substantial evidence to prove it. In fact, I have a way to prove whether there is a problem with the fourth Mizukage. Bai Yoruichi's words directly shocked Terumi Mei. You are not kidding. Terumi Mei looked at Bai Ye in surprise. Kurigakure, so many people can't think of any solution. How could Bai Yoruichi, a teenager, come up with a better way? Maybe. Quote. Kurigakure has been in this situation for nearly 10 years. I don't believe that Lord Terumi Mei will continue to tolerate such a situation. Bai Ye said lightly. It's not that Bai Ye looks down on Kurigakure. It's just that they didn't find any abnormalities in 10 years. Bai Ye thinks that there is something wrong here. Are you serious? After thinking for a long time, Terumi Mei looked at Bai Ye seriously and said. Of course. Bai Ye smiled confidently. Chapter 82 Terumi Mei. I want to be the Mizukage's woman. Please order the whole thing. But, why should I tell you? Bai Yoruichi's words almost broke Terumi Mei's defense. What are you doing? You've seduced people's curiosity. And then you don't tell them. Terumi Mei looked at Bai Ye with a face full of resentment. Since you don't plan to tell me, why do you still tell me about this? It's not that I can't tell you, it depends on your attitude. Bai Ye intends to tease Terumi Mei. After saying this, Terumi Mei's eyes became bright again. Then I must cook you a big meal today, ah. Terumi Mei puffed up her chest and promised. I believe that after tasting her cooking, Bai Yoruichi will definitely change his mind. Then wait and see. Bai Ye just smiled faintly, and then Bai Ye chose to go out and take a look. I'm going to prepare dinner for today, remember not to go far. Terumi Mei also said worriedly. After all, there will be no Anbu to track him down here, but it is hard to say when he leaves here. Got it. Bai Ye replied. I didn't expect that Terumi Mei, this woman, was still worried about me. Then Bai Ye disappeared from everyone's sight. Strange, where's Yi Bai? How come he disappeared in the blink of an eye? Terumi Mei was still wondering when she turned around. It just disappeared in the blink of an eye, how could Bai Ye disappear? Forget it, let's work hard to prepare dinner for today. Terumi Mei was not joking with Bai Ye. As a mature woman, Terumi Mei knew that if she wanted to capture a man's heart, she must capture his stomach. So even if she was busy at work, Terumi Mei would practice her cooking skills. So, she was definitely not joking when she said she would prepare a big meal for Bai Ye. On the other side, Bai Ye came to a building and met Zabuza after disappearing. Master Bai Ye, I have something important to report to you. Zabuza seemed to have something to say this time. That woman Terumi Mei is hiding something. Recently, Terumi Mei has been trying to win over Kurigakure ninjas in private. Zabuza answered word by word. Bai Yoruichi guessed it. Terumi Mei actually suspected the fourth Mizukage. But there was no evidence. However, she still planned to take the initiative. Master Bai Ye, I have a suggestion. I don't know if I should say it or not. Zabuza, who had hesitated for a long time, suddenly spoke. Why, do you have anything else to worry about in the country? Zabuza shook his head after hearing it. He was a traitor himself, so what else did he care about except Bai Ye? I just wonder if we should kill the fourth Mizukage directly. Zabuza's words made Bai Ye silent for a while. If Bai Ye remembered correctly, he didn't tell Zabuza about the fourth Mizukage being controlled. Why does Zabuza want to kill the fourth Mizukage so much? Kurigakure is more or less your hometown, right? Bai Ye asked. It is precisely because this is my hometown that I want to kill the fourth Mizukage. Zabuza has never been so determined. As a traitor that everyone wants to kill. Zabuza also has his own difficulties. To tell you the truth, the fourth Mizukage is actually controlled by someone. Bai Ye did not hide anything from Zabuza. Although Zabuza's strength is a little weak, his loyalty to himself is still obvious to everyone. What? Zabuza almost dropped his jaw when he heard the news. The fourth Mizukage was controlled. After living for so long, Zabuza rarely showed an extremely shocked expression on his face. Master Bai, even Zabuza couldn't accept such an exaggerated news. Fourth Mizukage is a cage-level strongman after all. How powerful must the person who can control him secretly be? Zabuza said with fear. But then Zabuza thought of something. Since Master Bai knows all the news, it means that Master Bai's realm is still above them. Even this kind of secret information can't be hidden from Master Bai. Then what should we do now? Kill fourth Mizukage and give a gift to the person behind him. Even if Zabuza knew that fourth Mizukage was controlled by someone. Advertisement. He still wanted to end his life. After all, if the real fourth Mizukage knew. He issued so many tasks to kill his companions. I'm afraid he would kill himself. Master Bai, what should we do now? Today I will Terumi Mei to discuss this matter. Bai Ye's words were like a stabilizing force. Zabuza then felt relieved. With Bai Ye here, even the mastermind behind the fourth Mizukage might not be Bai Ye's opponent. It's almost time, be careful not to be discovered. Bai Ye estimated that the time was almost up. So he warned before leaving. Zabuza's identity was still sensitive in Kurigakure. I understand. Zabuza hid again after saying that. It can be seen that Zabuza is still very adaptable to Kurigakure. After waiting for a while, Bai Ye returned to Terumi Mei's house. But Bai Ye could smell a fragrance before entering the room. After opening the door, Bai Ye found that Terumi Mei had actually prepared a big meal. There were all kinds of dishes and seafood on the table. Even the kitchen was stewing various seafood soups. Did you make all these? Bai Ye looked at Terumi Mei with some curiosity. He originally thought that Terumi Mei's food is good enough as long as it is edible. But I didn't expect it to be so luxurious. There are all kinds of delicacies from land and sea. Of course, don't underestimate my cooking skills. Terumi Mei listened to Bai Ye's praise and said proudly. Soon, Terumi Mei took Bai Ye to enjoy this feast. Yi Bai, try this. And this soup. This is not bad either. Bai Ye looked at the food piled up like a small mountain in his bowl in silence. This scene made Shuiyu and Bai envious. Unfortunately, they naturally did not have this treatment. Bai Ye tasted them one by one, and it must be said that Terumi Mei's cooking skills are comparable to those of some professional chefs. She feels like a good wife and a good mother. Of course, if Bai Ye did not know what Terumi Mei's true character is. Perhaps he was really confused by Terumi Mei's superficial appearance. Actually, Terumi Mei, you don't have to be so enthusiastic. Bai Ye couldn't bear Terumi Mei's tenderness. Thinking of this, Rii was not going to tell the other party how to see through the fact that the fourth Mizukage was controlled. In fact, it is very simple to check whether the fourth Mizukage is being controlled by someone. Doesn't Kurigakure Jonin Ching have a Byakugan? Just let him use the Byakugan to observe whether the fourth Mizukage has any abnormal chakra. Bai Ye directly told Terumi Mei the method. But unexpectedly, Terumi Mei did not react at all. Am I doing this just for this? Terumi Mei's beautiful eyes just quietly admired Bai Ye's appearance. 0145125008 Filu 174,371,081. Terumi Mei herself admitted that she was a face control. A face control with very high requirements. She can not care about half of her future strength, identity, and distance. But he must be handsome enough. And there has never been a person in the entire Kurigakure who can meet Terumi Mei's conditions. For this reason, Terumi Mei has never been willing to lower the conditions. Even if it means living alone. But since the moment she met Bai Ye, Terumi Mei felt that Bai Ye was her other half. That's why she took Bai Ye home and prepared dinner for Bai Ye. She even showed such a gentle side in front of Bai Ye. Ahem. Ms. Terumi Mei will become Mizukage's woman in the future. Bai Ye said with a faint smile. Who would have thought that Terumi Mei would say something shocking the next second? Oh. Then why don't you just be Mizukage? Sometimes Bai Ye had to admire Terumi Mei's imagination. She can even drive. Oh no, Lord Terumi Mei. Just when Terumi Mei and Bai Ye were talking happily here. Advertisement. A discordant voice came. Wait for me first. Although Terumi Mei's expression was still very gentle when she talked to Bai Ye. But on the other side, Hazuka Suigetsu was already frightened. Fit. After Terumi Mei went out, there was a strong collision sound. You are so short-sighted. Why do you have to report something at this time? Terumi Mei's eyes seemed to be able to kill people. This almost scared the people who came to report. Sir Terumi Mei, the fourth Mizukage found the trace of the traitor Zabuza. The two sides are fighting now, and the master asked us to go and support. Terumi Mei was dissatisfied after mentioning the master. Fourth Mizukage is a three-tails Jinchuriki, facing a little Zabuza. Zabuza. Why did Terumi Mei say it was so familiar? I saw Terumi Mei looking back at Bai Ye. I'm sorry to trouble you, Lord Terumi Mei. Bai Ye walked out and said lightly. How could it be? This matter has nothing to do with you, Yi Bai. 0. Terumi Mei had an extremely gentle expression when facing Bai Ye. She seemed to be facing her beloved while speaking. Who is this? The ninja who came to report was stunned by this scene. Is this still their Lord Terumi Mei? Is this still their Lord Terumi Mei who beat all of them alone? The violent one who possessed the dual bloodline limits of lava style and boil style. A death stare came over. The ninja who came to report lowered his head quickly. I didn't see anything. I don't know anything. Lord. Bai looked at Bai Ye with some concern. Bai Ye knew that he was worried about Zabuza's safety. Let's go together. Bai Ye sighed and said. Although Zabuza's strength is a little weak, it's not that. No matter how weak Zabuza is, he is still his own man. Whoever wants to kill Zabuza has to ask Bai Ye if he agrees. I'll go with Bai Ye. Terumi Mei was a little worried about Bai Ye's safety. So he suggested going together. At least he could take care of the safety of day and night. However, Terumi Mei's subordinates who saw this scene had completely doubted their lives. Just now, Terumi Mei didn't want to go at all. But when he saw that young boy was going, his attitude changed immediately. How to say it? He always felt that Terumi Mei was a bit like that kind of. What are you still standing there for? Come and lead the way. Terumi Mei looked at his subordinates with dissatisfaction. The atmosphere of his and Bai Ye's moonlight dinner was ruined. These people really have no vision at all. It's just Zabuza, but he can rebel against the sky. Then, under the leadership of his subordinates, Terumi Mei summoned his subordinates to chase after the place where the battle took place. During the period, Terumi Mei stayed close to Bai Ye. It seemed that he was worried that Bai Ye would be in danger. Bai Ye could only say that he was very speechless about this. If there is really danger later, I don't know who will protect whom. It didn't take long for everyone to come to the place where the battle broke out. Lord Terumi Mei, a ninja wearing an eye patch hurriedly said respectfully after seeing Terumi Mei coming. He is the Kurigakure ninja with the white eyes that Bai Ye mentioned, Xing. I didn't expect you to have such a high status in Kurigakure. Bai Ye said to Terumi Mei. Of course. When mentioning this, Terumi Mei said proudly. By the way, do you want Xing to use Bai Ye to check the fourth Mizukage later? 11. Terumi Mei said while protecting Bai Ye behind him. Who knew that this scene was completely shocked by Yin Meimei's subordinates? Chapter 83. One-handed tailed beast bomb. Terumi Mei is shocked. Please order the whole set or customize it. Who is that young man? It seems that Lord Terumi Mei attaches great importance to him. Is he the village's genius ninja? Why don't I have any impression of him? I remember that the chief of this term is called Chojuro. Terumi Mei's subordinates talked about Bai Ye. The good news is that what they said is true. Chojuro is really the chief of this term. The bad news is that this guy Chojuro is actually the chief. On the other hand, Bai Ye, who is at the center of everyone's discussion, is not humble or arrogant at all. Bai Ye just watched this scene indifferently. If Zabuza is really in danger, he will take action. By the way, Yi Bai, you must be careful later. I will save Zabuza depending on the situation. Terumi Mei stretched out her hand to protect Bai Ye behind her. After all, she is still in a high position in Kurigakure at this time. The fourth Mizukage may not do anything to her. Then Terumi Mei seemed to think of something. By the way, Ching, come here. Then Terumi Mei waved and called Ching over. Terumi Mei Sama. Ching, who was leading a small team of Kurigakure ninjas in the distance, was a little surprised when he heard Terumi Mei's voice, but he still came over obediently. Ching, use your blue eyes to observe the fourth Mizukage. See if there is anything wrong with the fourth Mizukage. Terumi Mei remembered what Bai Ye told her, so she planned to observe it today. It is not easy to see the fourth Mizukage at ordinary times. But when these words reached Ching's ears, something was wrong. What does this mean? Let me monitor the fourth Mizukage. Even if Ching is brave, he dare not do it. But the next second Terumi Mei said his guess in his heart. I suspect that the fourth Mizukage may be controlled by someone. So I want you to use the white eyes to observe. Ching felt extremely incredible when he heard the news, as if he had discovered some secret. I understand. At this time in the battle, Zabuza was already at a disadvantage. There was no way, he just wanted to kill a few of the fourth Mizukage's men to replenish the iron element for his beheading sword. Unexpectedly, he was discovered. And he was blocked by the fourth Mizukage. At this time, Zabuza's scalp was numb. Can't beat at all. Zabuza couldn't beat the fourth Mizukage who didn't activate the Jinchuriki state. Not to mention that the fourth Mizukage has a stronger tailed beast mode. As the perfect Jinchuriki of Kurigakure, the power of the fourth Mizukage after the tailed beast is simply not to be underestimated. Zabuza is indeed a little bit behind his old predecessor. Uchiha Itachi and Biwa Juzo fought against Yagura at that time. That was entirely because Yagura couldn't beat them in his normal state. So he activated the tailed beast mode. But the problem Zabuza is facing now is that he can be beaten even without turning on the tailed beast. Bayan. Ao took out his Byakugan and began to observe fourth Mizukage. At this time, Ao was even a little worried. After all, if he used the blue eyes to observe fourth Mizukage without permission at this time and was known by the other party, I am afraid that the end would definitely be miserable. Don't doubt it, fourth Mizukage is now more cruel than everyone imagines. Sometimes I even doubt it. Does fourth Mizukage have a grudge against all the people in Kurigakure? Otherwise, why would fourth Mizukage want to kill all the people in Kurigakure? But the next second, Ao found something unusual. What is this? Ao was extremely shocked after seeing it through the Byakugan. Why is the chakra in fourth Mizukage's body so chaotic? You should know that the Byakugan can see the opponent's meridians, acupuncture points, and the flow of chakra in the human body, and can see through things. Advertisement. The telescope eye that can see far away and the inside eye with strong observation ability. Using chakra to multiply the power of the eyes can see things within a kilometer, and its insight exceeds Sharingan. At this time, Ching can clearly see that the fourth Mizukage has a Genjutsu chakra. The fourth Mizukage is under Genjutsu. And the traces of this Genjutsu chakra on the fourth Mizukage are too deep. He has been controlled by Genjutsu for at least 10 years. If this kind of thing is spread out, it will probably cause an uproar. The Mizukage was actually controlled by someone for decades. And no one could detect the abnormality during this period. Ching, who ended the white eyes, was shaking his hands. He slowly came to Terumi Mei. Master Terumi Mei, the chakra on the fourth Mizukage is particularly disordered, and I also saw a trace of illusion chakra. Ching replied with a very serious expression. It's true. Terumi Mei was also shocked. Then he looked at Bai Ye who looked indifferent. He became more curious about Bai Ye. How did he know that Ching had white eyes, and how did he know that the fourth Mizukage was controlled by someone? Kurigakure had so many people and no one noticed it in the 10 years when the fourth Mizukage took office. Now, you should think about what to do. Bai Ye just said lightly. If it really doesn't work, I will. You must pay attention to safety later, I may not have time to care about you. Terumi Mei interrupted Bai Ye with a word. Even at this time, Terumi Mei was still worried about Bai Ye's safety. Ching, you will tell everyone the news later, and then surround the fourth Mizukage. You two little brats. At this time, Terumi Mei looked at Suigetsu and Bai again. Remember to protect Bai Ye later. If he gets hurt, you two will be finished. Terumi Mei gave them a death stare. But this really confused Suigetsu and Bai Ye. What do you mean? Do you want us to protect Bai Ye? Bai Ye can hang them up and beat them with one hand. Let us protect Bai Ye. Is this right? This is not right. Actually, you don't have to do it yourself. I can help you. Bai Ye looked at Terumi Mei who was so stupid that he wanted to take it alone, so he persuaded her. But Terumi Mei just shook her head and said, I know that you can subdue Zabuza and it is indeed far beyond other peers. But fourth Mizukage is different from others. Yagura is a cage-level warrior, and he is also a three-tails Jinchuriki. Ordinary people are no match for him. Terumi Mei's expression began to become extremely serious. She even wanted to let Suigetsu and Bai take Bai away later. I have sent someone to inform the master, someone will block this area next. Terumi Mei said slowly to Bai Ye. In fact, now is not the best time to tear the face with the fourth Mizukage. A Zabuza is indeed not worth it for them to do so. But the night is long and dreams are many. Terumi Mei has no way to guarantee that the person who controls the fourth Mizukage will not take the opportunity to attack again. At this time, Terumi Mei's status in the village can be seen. After she issued the order to round up the fourth Mizukage, the ninjas behind her did not doubt it. She directly skipped the decision made by the master privately. Lava-style dissolving technique. Terumi Mei formed seals with both hands, and then spit out a sticky and highly corrosive acid from her mouth. Yugura Kuji had never imagined that Terumi Mei would betray him. Fortunately, his intuition accumulated over the years allowed him to dodge at the critical moment. But even so, his back was corroded by the sudden lava-style technique. Terumi Mei, you dare to betray the hidden season village. Yugura Kuji had a hint of anger on his face. But it was not anger. It was as if he was being controlled by someone. No matter how his expression changed, he felt very stiff. Form a formation. Then Ching led the ninja team to surround Yugura Kuji. Then he simultaneously sent out the water-style technique. Wind-style once the typhoon passes. Yugura Kuji had no expression on his face. Then he sent out a wind-style ninjutsu, which directly broke all the water-style ninjutsu to zero. Master Bai Ye, do you need us to take action? Bai looked around. It seems that these Kurigakure ninjas can't play any role. Bang! The surrounding chakra aura began to spread. A tail began to appear behind Yugura. At the same time, tailed beast bomb began to condense. It's tailed beast bomb. Advertisement. Terumi Mei subconsciously prepared to resist. Boom. What is this? Terumi Mei suddenly found a figure in front of her. Yi Bai. Terumi Mei hadn't reacted yet, and then she saw an even more outrageous scene. Bai Ye actually blocked the tailed beast bomb of the fourth Mizukage with one hand. Terumi Mei took a deep breath when she saw this scene. Throw it away quickly, it will explode. Terumi Mei desperately wanted to rush up and grab Bai Ye. But the next second, Bai Ye's hands turned into a ball of liquid and wrapped the tailed beast bomb. Bang! The tailed beast bomb was directly crushed by Bai Ye physically. Ah! This! Terumi Mei was completely stunned the moment she pounced. What about the tailed beast bomb just now? You were making a fuss. Bai Ye sighed slightly, because Terumi Mei was too close. Bai Ye accidentally saw her delicate face, and her pair of watery eyes were full of doubts. The unique charm of a beautiful woman, like a plump crabapple flower. It should be said that even Terumi Mei, who has never had a boyfriend, always has a mature woman's charm. Of course, Terumi Mei's plump figure is comparable to Tsunade. Even in terms of those two giant peaks, she is only slightly inferior. Yugura, who was on Zero's side, became extremely cautious after seeing Bai Ye. Who are you, the helper that Terumi Mei found? It is hard to imagine that Yugura, a child, said such a thing. There is a kind of inexplicable beauty. Next, I advise you not to be stingy with the power of three tails. Otherwise, it will be difficult for me to enjoy it. Bai Ye said lightly to Yugura, who was not even as tall as his shoulder. HMPH, if you use the power of three tails, I'm afraid you will die painfully. Yugura just said expressionlessly, Yi Bai, don't talk too much with him, let's attack together. Terumi Mei wiped her pink lips with her hand. Prepared to join forces with Yoruichi Bai to attack, but unexpectedly was stopped by Bai Ye. Instant prison shadow killing formation. 2.2 inches. Then Bai Ye turned into a ghost and rushed towards Yugura. HMPH, you dare to use ninjutsu in front of me. Water-style water mirror technique. Yugura took a big step back. Yi Bai, be careful, it is the unique ninjutsu of the fourth Mizukage. You can create a mirror made of water, in which a person who looks exactly like the enemy will appear, and you can use the same ninjutsu as the opponent, and the power is the same. Terumi Mei hurriedly reminded, but the next second, her expression began to become stunned. What's going on? Why doesn't it work? This was the first time that Yugura Koji encountered such a scene. Bai Ye who appeared in the mirror couldn't use any ninjutsu at all. How is it possible? How many ninjas did Yugura Koji defeat using this ninjutsu? I don't know how many genius ninjas died under this trick of his. But when facing Bai Ye, it seemed to be ineffective. This was also the first time that Yugura Koji encountered his ninjutsu failing. But the next second, Bai Ye was already behind him. So fast. Yugura Koji's eyes widened. Bang. Then Yugura Koji was directly hit and flew out like a kite with a broken string. The powerful impact made him fly 100 meters away. This is too exaggerated. Terumi Mei was completely shocked when she saw this scene. Chapter 84. White Knight. Obito, I have prepared a gift for you, I hope you will be happy. Oh my god. The fourth Mizukage was actually knocked out like this. A cry came from the Kurigakure ninja team, and everyone's eyes were focused on the boy next to Terumi Mei. What is the origin of this person? How can he be so strong? Another ninja shouted with astonishment. Didn't you notice? He came with Terumi Mei, maybe he is Terumi Mei's future husband. I don't know who said this, and it instantly caused a commotion. Then all the ninjas looked at Bai Ye with more seriousness. This is the future husband of their boss, which is equivalent to their future boss. The Kurigakure ninjas below began to whisper and discuss. After all, the strength shown by Bai Ye was really too amazing. Everyone knew that as a cage-level strongman, the real strength of the fourth Mizukage was unrivaled even in the entire Xiaochu village. However, Bai Ye only struck once, and the fourth Mizukage flew more than 100 meters away. At this moment, Zabuza came over slowly, limping, carrying his beheading sword that was almost broken into 2 pieces. His body was covered with scars, and he looked very miserable. Text. Zabuza lowered his head, and said with a slightly embarrassed voice. It felt that everyone in Kurigakure would beat him up this time. Obviously, Zabuza was still in shock from the thrilling battle just now. If it weren't for Lord Bai Ye's help at the critical moment, he would have died at the hands of the fourth Mizukage. Ahem. Yugura stood up again in great anger. He stared at the group of Kurigakure ninjas in front of him and said. Are you planning to betray Kurigakure? Under the pressure of Yugura. There are still many ninjas who are too scared to take up weapons. After all, the shadow left by the fourth Mizukage on the Kurigakure ninjas is too deep. In Kurigakure, when mentioning the fourth Mizukage, we have to mention Kurigakure, which has always been shrouded in haze. It is full of violence, assassination, dictatorship and other means. Because the village has been isolated from the world for a long time, it brings great terror to people. His reign was even called the Village of Blood Mist. So it is obvious that Yugura Kujira's words at this time are still useful. At least the surrounding Kurigakure ninjas all paused and dared not move forward. A guy controlled by illusion. Do you dare to let the person behind you come out? Bai Ye looked at Yugura Kujira coldly. He knew that the one who really controlled the entire Kurigakure was not Yugura Kujira, but Uchiha Obito. How is it possible? As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the surrounding Sonogakure villagers became more exaggerated. They, Kurigakure, the shadow of a village, were actually controlled by someone using illusion. This is so funny. Yebai is telling the truth. The fourth Mizukage in front of us has been controlled by someone. Don't believe him easily. At this time, Terumi Mei also stood up. This made those who were not very loyal to the fourth Mizukage take up their weapons. You ruined my business. Yugura looked at Bai Ye angrily. But at this time, he didn't plan to pretend. Tailed beast bomb. Yugura's eyes began to turn red. Then the whole body changed significantly, but it still maintained its human form. At the same time, it was accompanied by the obvious outflow of the tailed beast chakra, covered with dark red tailed beast chakra. That is, the tailed beast coat, which has the ability to launch the tailed beast bomb. Who doesn't know how to launch the tailed beast bomb? Bai Ye smiled indifferently, and then began to condense the tailed beast bomb with one hand. Because he is in Kurigakure, Bai Ye does not intend to use wood style to expose his identity. But don't forget that Bai Ye also has the chakra of 3 tails. Name. Bai Ye. Identity. Konoha Villages No. 1 Genius, former 5th Hokage. Items. 1 click max level, gold, 1 click max level, directly max out any ninjutsu that has been mastered. Heaven Defying Comprehension, gold comprehension heaven defying, all ninjutsu, can be learned at a glance. External Incarnation, gold, shadow clone can practice on its own, absorb chakra, and can last for a long time. Advertisement. Illusion Immunity, gold, immune to all illusions, all illusion type ninjutsu have no effect on the host. Impure World Reincarnation Illustrated Book. The Impure World Reincarnation Illustrated Book collects samples of all ninjas in the ninja world, and provides the host with samples of Impure World Reincarnation, without restrictions and side effects. Tenfold Explosion, purple, the power explodes tenfold. Vision Penetration, purple, penetrates vision, any illusion or fog type ninjutsu cannot block your vision. 3 Tails Chakra, purple, all chakras of the complete 3 tails. Chakra Body Refining Technique, purple, can compress chakra into cells, and will not harm the body as long as chakra is not exhausted. Forbidden Secret Technique. Instant Prison Shadow Killing Formation, purple, becomes unselectable, rushes forward and leaves shadow clone in place and marks the target, and can be activated again to swap positions. Star Infusion, purple, heal a wounded person to restore their health, and consume a corresponding amount of your own chakra. Enlightenment, blue, transfer the ability drawn by the host, only blue items and below, to a subordinate designated by you, the subordinate must be absolutely loyal to the host. True Eye, blue, insert an unperceivable true eye, which can only be eliminated in the scanning state, providing vision near the true eye. Teleport, blue, teleport to the vicinity of the true eye, without consuming any chakra. Evolved version of the hydration technique, blue, can turn the body into liquid, immune to physical attacks. Tailed Beast Bomb. Tenfold Explosion. Bai Ye directly strengthened the attack he released with a tenfold explosion. This is. Yugura, who was in the half-tailed beast state, looked at the other party with horror. It was exactly the same power as his own body. But it looked several times more terrifying than his own. You are crazy. If you continue to attack like this, half of Kurigakure will be destroyed. Yugura also planned to use Kurigakure to threaten Bai Ye. He was right. The entire Kurigakure could not withstand such a large-scale attack. Yi Bai. At this time, Terumi Mei also looked at Bai Ye. There was a little pleading in his eyes. You are dead today, I said. The next second, Bai Ye used the instant prison shadow killing formation again to come in front of Yugura. Yugura didn't even have time to react. The next second they disappeared from everyone's sight. Hey, where did you go? Wasn't you here just now? Boom. The next second, a roaring sound erupted directly from the sea level in the distance. The entire wave was blown hundreds of meters away. What is this? Bai Ye's fighting style was completely beyond their imagination. They didn't even have time to reflect on why Bai Ye also tailed Beast Bomb. Yi Bai. Terumi Mei began to worry. Just now, Bai Ye also disappeared with Yugura. So will Bai Ye. Just when Terumi Mei was worried, the next second. The sky flashed again and then Yi appeared in front of everyone intact. 0145125008 Filu 174,371,361. Yi Bai. Terumi Mei turned from sadness to joy when she saw Bai Ye appear intact. After all, nothing is more important than Bai Ye's safe return. Where is Yugura? Terumi Mei did not see Yugura disappearing with Bai Yoruichi, so she asked curiously. Are you talking about the big turtle? Sorry, I may have hit him too hard just now. Bai Ye did not say it. But everyone who heard this knew what happened to Yugura. Not even a corpse was left. Yugura is dead. Yugura is dead. Hazuka almost laughed out loud when he saw this scene. What are you laughing at? Bai looked at Hazuka with some surprise. What does the death of the fourth Mizukage have to do with him? Advertisement. But Hazuka's abnormality also attracted the attention of other ninjas in Kurigakure. This kid seems to be from the Hazuka clan. Isn't this the younger brother of Hazuka Mangetsu? This kid is still alive. Everyone immediately realized why the other party was so happy. Because the reason why the wealthy Hazuka group in Kurigakure was expelled like the Uchiha clan was because of this. The fourth Mizukage who just died can be said to have made an indelible contribution. Without Yugura's targeting, the Hozukage family, one of the most powerful families in Kurigakure. How could it be completely destroyed in a dozen years? Now only Hozukage Mizuki is left outside. Brother, it's a pity that you can't see it. Hozukage Mizuki even shed tears unconsciously while talking. I didn't expect that kid to be so sentimental. Bai Ye said lightly as he watched this scene. Yugura was really dead, but there was one thing Bai Ye didn't say. That is, Three Tails didn't die. By the way, killing the fourth Mizukage won't have any impact on you, right? Bai Ye looked at the woman Terumi Mei. She was worried about me just now, and I would be embarrassed if I caused trouble for her. It's okay. Ao knows that the fourth Mizukage is controlled by illusion through the Byakugan. And the death of Three Tails may be a good thing. Anyway, the tailed beasts can be resurrected after more than 10 years after death. Three Tails was resurrected more than 10 years after the death of the previous Three Tails Jinchuriki. And Yugura sealed the resurrected Three Tails in himself. He became the 970th Jiriki of Three Tails. Because the Three Tails chakra attribute is water-oriented, every resurrection is in the land of water. Terumi Mei doesn't have to worry too much. It's not that Hiomi doesn't intend to tell Terumi Mei about this. He stripped Three Tails from Yugura after defeating him. Of course, Three Tails is useless to Byakuya. Because he has already obtained the Three Tails chakra. However, after killing Yugura, Uchiha Obito will definitely not give up. I just happened to have a gift for her at that time. I hope Uchiha Obito won't be too happy then. By the way, was your attack just now tailed beast bomb? Terumi Mei asked curiously. She always felt that the attack Bai Ye used just now was exactly the same as tailed beast bomb, even the name was the same. It just looks like it. I'm not a tailed beast Jinchuriki. Bai Ye shook his head and replied. That's right. Terumi Mei thought about it carefully and it seemed to be the case. Tailed beast bomb seems to be only released by tailed beast Jinchuriki. And I didn't detect any tailed beast breath on Bai Ye at all. So Bai Ye naturally couldn't be a tailed beast. I thought too much, but thank you for this time. Terumi Mei's delicate and pretty face revealed a shy expression at this time. Bai Ye is so strong, would he laugh at me before? Terumi Mei thought about how she had been trying to protect Bai Ye before. Now it seems too shameful. But thank you for your concern. Bai Ye's gentle smile almost made Terumi Mei fall in love again. At this time, Terumi Mei had no resistance to Bai Ye. Don't bother you with the next thing, I'll ask them to clean up the scene. Terumi Mei knew that now was not the time for love. She and Bai Ye killed the fourth Mizukage. The Yuanshi will definitely come to hold them accountable. I'm afraid there will be many things to trouble by then. At this time, Terumi Mei didn't plan to let Bai Ye intervene. You can live in my house for the time being, anyway, I usually live alone. I will go back to find you after I forget about things. Terumi Mei looked at Bai Ye deeply with her green eyes.